you have to love it. And the reason why we love it so much is because we're breathing a lot of the fumes from the jet engine. So I'll just start off a bit about, a lot of people always ask me how an airline function and what type of jobs they are in.
Okay. Sorry to come in, Mr. Glenn. Sorry, I'm so sorry to cut you at this point. Uh, like I said before, your section will be coming after the panel, this today's panel section, because we want a full house and we want people to listen to your words of wisdom and experience. I
Okay.
Yes, yes. So please just give us time to finish this morning, this panel section. Then we'll bring you in. So we are looking at the participants. We really want you to have an effect in the lives of our participants.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Thank you. So I'll just move on to introduce Miss B. She's popularly known as Miss B. Her name is Loretta Tungono Brickestead. She's a Lagosian and she's a very good friend of mine. I'll just read from her little profile here. Developing the potential in others, impacting on them, her environment and beyond the opportunities exist informs all she does or all she'll do. She's a trainer, a coach, hospitality consultant, and lecturer for over 20 years in the tourism and hospitality sector. She's the founder of initiatives for mentoring young females, female aspiring females studying or working in hospitality, tourism, and leisure. She's a senior lecturer, researcher in Wavecrest School of Hospitality, Lagos. Nigeria. She's the only the school is the only polytechnic in Nigeria. She specialized in teaching all hospitality courses, including food safety and hygiene, facilities maintenance, property management, service skills, food and beverage operations, bar and liquor service skills, tourism, which leads to student satisfaction for national diploma or diploma courses. Now, just to wrap up everything, because she has a very long list here, and I will encourage everyone that has access to this particular program booklet to please go through it. But I know she is the founder of Miss B and Hospitality. That's a brand name, and she has really done a lot in mentoring young ladies. She mentors young females. She teaches them. She encourages them, and she tries to support them in her own little way. She's she's a very wonderful person, and I love her also. So I'm going to bring her on board so that she can introduce her fellow panel, she can introduce the panelists and also give a little introduction about herself. So Miss B, you the floor is over to you. Yes, Miss B, the floor is over to you. Miss B, can you unmute your mic, please? Hello? Miss B?
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, Miss B, we can hear you.
We can hear you,
Okay,
ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
so
Okay, the
sorry.
floor is
Yes, so sorry.
over to you. Yes.
Yes,
Please
so
just give us a little of
yes, I know that you said you want me.
panelists.
Yes, no. One moment, Sophia. Let me just say hello, Africa. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I was just trying to, no matter what, we are hospitality people. I am not going to just rush into our panelists. We have to be very hospitable here. So I'm just going to give a brief rundown of what we are going to be talking about today, which is hospitality, really. So please bear with me and don't get too hungry, with what I have to share, really, before we bring the panelists on board, really, or for us to be able to set the scene properly. I have, I don't know if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Please,
Go ahead.
please just bear with me. I want to put it to the right before we go right into the beginning. Okay. So Sophia has given me the job to moderate this panel, and I want to tell my panelists, please prepare to, share a lot with us today. Like I said, welcome. I'm very excited, and I hope it's going to be an engaging panel discussion. The title we are looking at today talks about hospitality, job prospects, and opportunities for the future. But I want to believe that the future is now. So when we are discussing today, I want us to ask ourselves, what do you think of when you think about hospitality? Sophia has introduced me. I wouldn't spend so much time. On the slide there, you might see a few things, but I want to go right to our discussion, hospitality. So when you think about hospitality, what comes to your mind? A fat caterer, catering, food, depending on the delicacies in your different countries. I found it amusing once I went on an outdoor catering with some students, just like other speakers from the past days have been saying, that people think of tourism or aviation and they just think of one particular profession. So sometimes people think of hospitality and they think it's just about a caterer catering for things, really. So that's not what it's about. So going further, when you think of hospitality, like I said, what comes to your mind? Hopefully not these things. Hospitality is about these key things we see on the screen. It's food, drink, entertainment, lodging, and leisure and sports. We are providing that. Beside that, I like us to look at hospitality and tourism as fish and bone relationship. One of the speakers talked about that we are in a triangular industry. Yeah, and I think aviation is the place that carries all of us, as a couple. How come? How is that happening? Because with this maze you see before us here, anytime a traveler makes a decision, we create a maze, and then all these three sectors start interacting together. And we also have these three levels of operation that many people don't realize, that there's so many skills, opportunities, and prospects that lie within here. I'm hoping we'll be able to talk about that as we go along today. The common ones that people tend to know about is front desk, is FOAs, is working in a hotel, is being a cateress, etc. But let me blow your mind further, for especially the young people that are here, thinking beyond the fat caterer. Have you talked about career paths in the airline? Have you talked about thinking of being a sky chef? Have you talked about hospitality catering? That hasn't even been tapped into yet. There's so much to say. Now, look at this dynamic picture. I hope you can see there. This is a cruise career path. It's not beans, like I tell young people. In order to be able to run a kitchen in a huge ship liner like this, you don't just, do that by passing your wire or not passing the wire. There's so many skills that are involved. And today we'll be talking about skills and competencies. There are also luxury hotels, resorts that require personnel and skills that need to be developed as well. And that's related to hospitality as well. And there is that need, capacity development, and people are needed for that. So the market is huge. It's not just about catering that we're used to or we're familiar with. It's a huge industry, as we can see on the screen here. It's transport catering, it's commercial, there are profit-making sides. It's huge, definitely. I want to share quickly with you from this slide up here in terms of creating your own niche. Yesterday and the day before, people were asking, where do I start? How do I start? I have this Zoom and on the Instagram platform that I run, like Sophia has said, encouraging young females that are studying or aspiring or working in the industry in order to create the awareness that this is a valid professional career for young girls, so that parents, guardians, our society also can see that it's valid. Within these posters, believe it or not, I have a 17-year-old girl that helped me to start this particular program that she hasn't studied hospitality or anything, but she's already a business entrepreneur, she's a trainer, and she's already making money in a niche she has created. Every girl in this poster has created a niche. If you look at the poster where the girl is carrying something in her, two plates in her hand, she has a YouTube channel that YouTube pays her. She has a TikTok channel that TikTok pays her as well. So each of these people in these posters have found their need. What other interesting thing is in this poster? The young lady in the middle that has Visa Rica written, she studied hospitality, but she's now working in a fashion house. How come? Because she's got front desk skills that is needed there as well. So the possibilities are huge. It's not just about being a cateress. So every time someone makes a food, drink, or lodging decision away from home for 24 hours, like Mr. Osman told us yesterday as well, young people have job prospects and opportunities, no doubt. You know, we're going nowhere. This is the place to be, as I always say. So which will you choose, any or none? If it's none, you might want to be a self-employed person. So there is a scope for that. People are making money with even facility management. Hopefully we'll talk further with that. So what's the future? I say the brightest is yet to come. Some people don't even know that we have the diaspora tribe, you know, travelers. That's another market niche. And I'm hoping that Ruben will be able to help us trash a few things that I have lined up to ask him as we go along. So we're in the new normal. It's already ongoing. And there's so much or less to be derived, more or less also to be gained from all these situations we have here. So I love quotes. And I just want to end with two here. Let's speaking to the young people around here. Some of those pictures I showed you of young people, they don't have anything. Some of them have started from their parents' kitchen, some just with a camera. So start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. And I will say at the end of these 3 days, knowing is not going to be enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. So on that note, thank you and enjoy this ride with the hospitality panelists. Thank you. So with that said, hello, are we there? Hello, are we together? So I would like to,
Together.
okay, so I would like to, yes, I would like to
for
now.
that wonderful presentation.
Thank you. So I would like to invite on board, you know, our panelists. I thought maybe Sophia was going to introduce them, but I guess, Sophia, you want me to briefly introduce, or I guess our panelists can briefly introduce themselves so that we can move on without too much ado. Sophia, are you there? What do we prefer? Hello?
Yes, of course, I'm here.
Okay, so.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So do you want us to, introduce the panel?
Have one of the panelists now in the house. The others are trying to connect to the meeting.
Okay, so I guess we will just start with Ruben, and who else is around?
Sister, hello? I think I'm the only one on. Motabu is still trying to get on.
Okay, fantastic. Ruben, are you comfortable there? Do you want us to start?
Sure, no problem at all.
Okay. Sorry, I have a little bit of a background noise that just started where I have situated myself, so bear with me. I hope you can hear me very clearly.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Ruben, I know you have water sports business expertise somehow, you know, as that even though Mr. Tazantu is an icon, but I want you, before I ask my question, I want you to just introduce yourself briefly to the audience for those that haven't had the benefit of, you know, getting to know you.
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. It's 4 a.m. in the morning here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, where I'm at, but I'm very happy to have a taste of Africa with all of you. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am 53 years old. I've been in the tourism business since, well, for about 25 years now. I started off in the business actually as a lifeguard in my teens. But later in my 30s, I got involved with, I moved to the Gambia in 1999, moved my family to the Gambia. You talk about diasporic African. Well, I brought my family home, and we can talk about that later. Immediately that I got to the Gambia, I started working on the International Roots Homecoming Festival, which is a festival the Gambia held, calling diasporic Africans home. I was very much involved with that. Shortly thereafter, I started a commercial fishing business, a charter fishing business with the tourists. The Gambia is very blessed. It has a river and an ocean front. From there, the other panelist who's supposed to be with us, Modibu Tal, actually, I've known Modibu since 1999. In 2003, he invited me to come into a five-star hotel resort in the Gambia, the Sun Beach Hotel and Resort. And that kind of started my love affair with resorts. I hadn't worked really in resorts before, but I took over a concession called Blue Water Sports. That was a third-party concession for the resort. And within a month and a half, I started making more money than the a la carte restaurants. And I realized that there was quite a bit of money to be made in the industry. Um, and so I stayed. And so I stayed at that resort for about 4 years, 4.5 years. I left there. I opened my own upscale restaurant focused on tourism. Perhaps we can talk a little bit about it later, but there's a dynamic difference between the Gambia tourism and Nigeria tourism. The Gambia tourism is 98% Europeans, whereas most of the tourism, from my experience in Nigeria, is domestic tourism, but we can deal with that. So from there, I also did marketing and sales for a company called Gambia River Excursion, again, staying pretty close to the water. Also, they had accommodation. That was my introduction to eco-cultural tourism. Um, I left the Gambia 2010, came back to Canada, immediately got involved with a business called Ecoterra International, which is basically a timeshare, but we called it fractional share. Traditionally, in a timeshare, you're selling the rooms for 1 week at a time. We sold our rooms for basically 1 month to 3 months at a time. And these were to potential investors who basically would buy into the timeshare and then we would rent it back out for them for a profit for the investors and ourselves. Um, from there, my job with that company was administrative. So I went through a couple of different transitions that led to, I guess, the foundation of my career and my knowledge. And I think that's very important to the young people out there, is that you have to do, or it's very good to do as many things as possible. One, to get the knowledge of the industry, and two, I guess, in a little bit to find your own niche, because there are some things like the administrative. I was administrative manager for Ecoterra International, and I learned a great deal, but I certainly don't want to do that again. You know, there are certain things that you'll find that you may like and you don't like. So from administrative manager with Ecoterra International, I went back to school. I became a paralegal. Tried to get out of the industry for a little while, but as luck would have it, I got a call about a year after I finished school from a friend of mine to join him in a business in Toronto, and this was a very interesting initiative. It was a 200-room airport hotel. So a lot of business travelers, But we also, it was at a time where the Syrian refugees had just started coming into Canada. And so we actually rented 100 of our rooms to the city. And so we were actually, although it was at a reduced rate for the refugees, they were guaranteed every day. And they're still, I left the hotel, but they're still doing it. So they're still making money, taking care of people in a hospitality sense, but they're not really tourists or they're not really travelers, but the hotel is still operating the same. And so that is also a very interesting thing to learn, because I think, as you mentioned initially, is that the skills you learn in our industry are very much transferable, whether you take them to care homes or you take them to other type of facilities. So I was director of sales of this hotel. That was called the Toronto Plaza Hotel. My job primarily was to rent out conference space. I had 11,000 square feet of conference space split between 7 conference halls. And I also had a 5-acre parking lot that I rented. And I tell you that story because it led me to Nigeria. I contacted another friend of mine who's actually a business partner of Glenn Logan, another guy you have on here. So we have a bit of a network going to see if he had business for me for my conference halls. And he said no. But he said that he does need 13 hotel rooms. He has an African king coming, Nigerian king coming to Toronto, and he needs some rooms. So I helped him out. And it was through that good fortune that I was introduced to the Oni of Ife. And basically 1 year later, I ended up in Ife on another issue. And KBSA made me an offer I could not refuse. And he asked me to take over his new Ife Grand Resort and Leisure, which I did. And I ran that for a year for KBSA and the startup. He then sent me to Lagos because I had spent 11 months basically in Ile-Ife without moving. So you want to talk about getting your head down. I never got my head back up. And he sent me to Lagos. He said, Ruben, I want you to go from one end to the other and to learn Lagos very, very well, if you know how KBSA speaks. And he transferred me to under the patronage of Dr. Wanley Akin Bourboyer from La Campagna Tropicana Beach Resort, which is one of the most famous and awesome beach resorts in Nigeria. And I spent 8.5 months basically doing sales and marketing for both resorts, which was a very interesting experience, very eye-opening, and really taught me a way forward to the future that perhaps we can talk about a little bit later. So
Fantastic.
I think in a nutshell, that's who I am.
Okay, Ruben, thank you so much. I think we're going to have a very interesting, engaging conversation with you. I've noted a number of things just from the brief introduction you have done. So with that said, Ruben, let me ask you this question to start with, because in this session, I want us to hone into specifics and then we can go to other general things. And what do I mean? Because we are talking hospitality today. So with your own wealth of experience, and I said we're still going to have Mr. Tarzan on board. You've owned, you've managed, and you've operated water sports businesses and others. What does it still require in terms of hospitality, from the hospitality perspective? Because you also have experience in hotel management, restaurant and accommodation services that can create still opportunities for young people now. What aspect of hospitality still does this area of the water sports you have been linked in very much still has to offer or needs to be tapped into by young people who are the focus of this webinar?
Thank you very much, Ms. B. Great question. I think, first and foremost, what is water tourism? So water tourism is an opportunity to take people out of their regular environment and put them into a water environment perhaps they've seen on TV. it's you could take them. I mean, there are so many things, and again, when you're talking skills, there are many different areas. So I mean, obviously, you have a captain of the boat. Um, and that is a very skilled trade, obviously, because you're taking people's lives in your hands. But there are many other things that go into it, and I think the first thing that I'd like to start with is really the last thing I did in Nigeria, which is sales and marketing, and how important that is to all forms of preferred tourism, whether it's water tourism or safari tours or cultural events, that you have to get the customers. And I think that anybody that is interested to get into the tourism business, you have to accept that you're going to be a salesperson. And the sales that you're doing is that you're selling a lifestyle, you're selling a dream, you're selling a once in a lifetime opportunity for many people. And so I think overall the main thing that you have to have when you do this business is I made a little bit of a note last night. You know, it's when we hire in this business, we hire two types of people. We hire switched on people, and we hire people who are not switched on. The switched on people have a future in this business. The non-switched on people are temporary till we can find somebody better. And so the difference between the two is that you might find somebody that is doing very well at hospitality, that is able to switch on the customers, but their heart is not in it. And so that, you know, you're not going to be able to do that long. I think, you know, with the waterborne tourism, number one, you have to believe in it. You have to know what you're selling. In the Gambia, we have a fairly strong inshore fishing business. And so the skills that, and I didn't really know how to do that. So I learned those skills when I got there. I think that it's important, one, if you want to break into the industry, and you want, especially if you want to, you know, be on the water and you want to be a charter fisherman, you want to do boat tours, you know, anything like that, is that you have to find the right people to work with. You know, I was very fortunate when I got into this business that I started working with the best fishermen in the Gambia. And so I learned the best of the habits. It's also easy to learn the worst of the habits. So I think that's the main thing, is that, you know, if you want to get involved in the industry, it's pretty clear the areas, whether it's F&B, whether it's guest relations. Take your time and really study what that means to the customer, you know, what the customer's expectations are and what you want to get out of it. And if the two are pretty close together, you may indeed have a future in this business.
Fantastic. I think I will still want you to expatiate on some of the things you have said, but let me come back to some of the things you told us in the introduction. You had at a point in time, you said you had to receive the king in that hotel facility and all. Like I always say in hospitality, it's the opportunity or it's the place to meet anybody, because maybe some people might not get sick and go to the hospital, but in hospitality, you meet everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rupert, would you share with us, because you said we know how the king talks. Can you share with the audience here, especially the young people, what did it entail to have to deal with a royal person? Was it different? Was it in a normal? Did you think there were some special skills or things, expectation from such a person compared to the normal guest in the hotel?
Thank you very much. It's definitely not normal. I think the first thing that I would want to say is that in this business, you don't know who you're dealing with. And so one, we have to be professional all the time. You mentioned that earlier. Hospitality is about being hospitable. And, you know, I think it was a little bit different for me, because as a diasporic African, perhaps alluding to our conversation a little bit later, we have a hunger for culture. We don't have a culture per se in the West when you compare it to actual culture like what you find in Africa. And so when I had the opportunity to meet the Oni of Ife, I was very humbled. I was very surprised. It's the 21st century, 2020, but believe it or not, the majority of diasporic Africans still have no idea what African royalty means. And so the day that I met Kabiese was one of the most significant days of my life, indeed. And to speak a little bit further, it was Kabiese who really taught me how to respect our elders and our rulers. 4 months after I took over his resort, he held the first ever Heritage Forum, and I had 150 kings of Yoruba land come through my resort. So that was a crash course in how you treat royalty. And I think that, it's a good lesson on how we treat the rest of the world. Everybody in the hospitality industry, you should consider as royalty. I'm not saying that we necessarily have to fall to our knees to show respect, because not everybody needs that. But I think, yes, everybody does need a smile. I think that everybody does need politeness. There's a saying in Yoruba land. I can't say it in Yoruba. Perhaps you can help me. But it says the youth who doesn't know how to wash his hands will not sit at the table of his elders. And I think that is a good median for our industry, is that I try to conduct myself as a king. I try to conduct myself as a diplomat. I try to conduct myself as somebody that when my staff see me, I'm not going to disgrace them. I'm not going to be degraded, and they can be proud, and they can without a doubt say, this is my boss. This is my manager. This is a leader here. And so I think each and every one of us has to lead in that way. We have to lead with ourselves. Kabiese once said to me something which is not true for the rest of us, but he says, Ruben, I have no more ambition. He's achieved the most. And I was so amazed by that, because, most of us, our ambition would just begin when we became king. But he was satisfied. He is satisfied with his role, and he's satisfied with what he has to do to achieve that role. And he's achieved a peace within himself. I think we as the service providers, whether you are a general manager of a resort, whether you are a night manager, whether you are F&B manager, whether you're the executive chef, or whether you're the dishwasher, is that we must treat ourselves as worthy. We must treat our customers as though they are the most important person in our life, because they are. They're the ones feeding us. They're the ones who are going to take the reputation of our facility away with them. And that's either going to bring us money, bring us more business, or it's going to push money away from us and keep business away from us. So it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter how glorified your position is. People, they actually literally used to laugh at me in Ife, because if my staff was not doing something fast enough, I have no problem putting a table on my head and running it up to where the banquet's supposed to be. And, I had many Nigerians say, oh God, you can't do that. Well, I'm sorry. I want my customers to know that they are important to me enough that the GM is going to sweat for them. And, we can't look down on any position. I mean, in a resort, I would just ask, and then rhetorically, what do you think the most important position is in the resort as far as the GM is concerned? That number one, and for me, one of the most important positions is a dishwasher. Number one, I make more money off of my food and beverage sales than I do off of almost anything else. And I tell you what, if I run out of dishes because all those dishes are dirty and I don't have a dishwasher, my operations cease. So that means
Absolutely.
I have to treat my dishwasher with the same respect that I treat my front desk officer, or I treat my executive chef, because without any one of them, the whole spider web just breaks down.
Absolutely. Ruben, thank you so much. A brilliant insight there and all. I want to take advantage that I just have you at the moment. So I'm still going to ask something else based on what you had said before. You said something about when the Oni brought you, he said he wanted to bring you also, I think, to learn about Lagos. Can you share with the audience? Because, you know, sometimes most of us, we don't even know about our environment or whatever. Everybody wants to go abroad and we know more about America than we know about our place. How did that knowledge of getting to know Lagos influence how you also worked in that role you had? Please share with us.
Thank you. Well, I can tell you, um, there is no place in the world like Lagos. You know, um, when I let me just preface that a little bit, is that okay, I flew into Lagos, and I spent 2 days in Ikeja before I went to Ife in 2007 2018, I guess, but I didn't see Lagos. And then I get to Ife, and of course Kabiese captivates me, and I don't leave. I mean, I only went to Ibadan once, so I didn't leave. I had my head down in the resort, and for better or for worse, I never left. But when I finally got to Lagos and started working in Lagos, you know, and of course, when you're driving around, you listen to the radio, and probably all of you in Nigeria have heard this radio advertisement where it's giving quotes. And there's a quote from Nelson Mandela that says that unless Nigeria rises, the whole of Africa will go no place. I paraphrased it. And you see that in Lagos. I'm right now in Canada. Okay, Canada, second largest country on earth after Russia, type of thing. 36 million people. Lagos has 26 million people in one state. So right there, my education was very real. And also coming from the diaspora, where everything is built by the white man, you look at everything and you can't say we did this, but you can't look anywhere in Nigeria and say we didn't do this. Even the concert hall behind your back in the photo, this is for us, by us. And so I think Nigeria is a tremendous inspiration for me. I spent 11 years in the Gambia, but the Gambia is a different planet altogether. The Gambia is the Gambia is more like Ile-Ife. So it's very rural. It's, no big buildings. It's a different planet. Lagos is obviously a place where there's a ton of money. I was doing sales for the resort, selling mainly to corporations to come and have staff retreats. And that's something in the Gambia we don't ever do. And so, when you're talking about the many different facets of tourism, it's uncountable where you can make money. But the premise is the same, is that why are you making money? You're making money because people are choosing you. Why are they choosing you? Because you have to be clean. Your service has to be top notch.
Yeah.
And in truth, I have a motto that I live by in all the businesses I run, is that I want the customer to feel that whatever service or product they're getting from me, that the price they paid, that they would have paid more for it elsewhere. That they feel that they get value with me, but then they get service that is worth more than that value. And that, again, regardless of what you do, I think that's where you have to look. How I tie that into my education in Lagos is I had an opportunity to visit a number of different tourism establishments, one to get to know the place myself. And, you know, we're set up for business. There's no doubt about it. There are enough beds in Nigeria. One of the things that we have to work on in Nigeria is our own standard. You know, we keep using 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, but that actually doesn't mean anything to us. You know, same in the Gambia. Like, we have our own Gambian standard. I think that we need in Nigeria is we need to establish our own Nigerian standard that we can then enforce. So I don't want to, that's another different animal altogether.
I know.
But yeah, I do think that that's important. I do think that all you have to do is just look around at the number of businesses in Lagos and around the country dedicated to tourism. Yet we're relying predominantly on domestic tourism, which is a great thing. But if you had an opportunity to see the income statement from a small country like the Gambia, that are eating euros and pounds and dollars at a more consistent rate, they have opportunities to expand that we don't, and vice versa. So I think that there's a lot of cooperation and learning between us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Ruben, so that I don't forget, I want to come back to what you said about the diaspora, and you have a lot of experience there. In reading your profile, I saw that you had been a member of the International Route Homecoming Festival to create that tourism bridge between Africa and lost families in diaspora. I had an opportunity to have a guest on one of my online platforms I do for the guests from the diaspora. And there we talked about, you have 3 categories of those in the diaspora, which I have on the slide, but maybe I went so fast. You talk about the anchor travelers, the nomads, and the lost tribes. Do you think young people have something that they can tap, some opportunities to tap in from there as well, from your experience, in terms of the expectation of that group of travelers that we have not even keyed into? I think Ghana and maybe Gambia also is tapping into that with what you have explained so far. Please share with us.
Thank you. This is actually a very good topic that you can bring up with Glenn. I hear Glenn listening. We've actually been talking about that. Yeah, the diasporic African tourism has been this chimera that predominantly, I would say all Africa, but mainly West Africa, Kenya, Rwanda is starting a little bit now too. You know, there is an undeniable desire for diasporic Africans to know more. Because of the circumstances of our history, we have an emotional wound that cannot be healed over here. It has to be healed home, and it has to be healed with our people. The Gambia and Ghana have done a lot. The Ghana now, diasporic Africans can get passports. I don't know if they are honorary or exactly what. In the Gambia, we started issuing honorary passports. I definitely think that this is a way forward. I do think that we must be careful. You know, Marcus Garvey, who is a diasporic African hero originally from Jamaica, who formed the Universal Negro Improvement Association in 1914. And he's the one that actually led the Back to Africa movement that for my ancestors and Glenn's ancestors, you know, whose African heritage parents were enslaved. I try to make a point. I never call my ancestors were not slaves. They were enslaved. You know, the onus is on the bugger who did the enslaving, but we have no shame in that. And so, you know, for those of us, we know that this is not our home. we know somewhere in Africa is our home. And so the countries that begin to open up, I think it's good. I'm kind of going around because really what I want to say is that certainly we can take tourism. Doesn't matter. You can come to Africa. I think there's another there. You have to mimic what you were saying. You said anchor, nomad, lost tribe. So I see it kind of three as well, but I see it a little bit different. I see you'll have the desperate. Many people like me, when I initially came to Africa, I was desperate to get out of Babylon. That I found that my own perception of my personal culture and the vision I had of myself did not fit with how this society wanted me to be and wanted me to think about myself. And so I was desperate to get out of here. The next ones who are going to come are those who are well-to-do, who can afford the tickets, who can afford the resorts.
Absolutely.
After that, you're going to get the wealthy. These are the people who can come and start establishing businesses and so on. And I don't mean just wealthy in terms of money, but I mean even wealthy in terms of outlook.
Intellectual things, yeah.
Who can live and work in Africa? We know as Africans, and I say we now because honestly, I am far more African than I am Babylonian, even how I deal with people. We know to live in Africa is easy. We just have to respect each other. There's so much fear in the West that the Europeans have put in most diasporic Africans about Africa and Africans that we in Africa need to work on that first. We need to bring down a lot of the barriers, especially related to slavery. This is some dialogue that I'm beginning in the Gambia right now. And Usman was telling me, Usman Kebe is also a friend of mine who was on yesterday, and he was speaking with the Calabar Festival. Well, the Calabar Festival and the Gambia Roots Homecoming Festival, what is the difference? There's not really a difference. We need to look at some of this history and get a hold on it ourselves, okay? Because I don't want to get into that, but yeah, I think that the diasporic tourism is very important. Glenn can talk to you about the major issue that we have, which is air travel, because you're talking, you know, you could take a Canadian can go to Jamaica for 2 weeks for maybe $3,000. To get to Africa for the same 2 weeks, you're talking almost $5,000.
Absolutely.
And so we have a problem with that economic drive, but I think that will end soon. But that's not gonna. We also have to, as Nigerians and as Africans, we have to have a reimagining of the diasporic Africans. That what are they? What are we? Are we a different tribe of people? Like when you say lost tribe, are they different? We look different, but are we different? And to end this, my part on this, let me just say something that Kabiese, the Oni of Ife, the 51st Oni of Ife, said to me, looking in my face, my Babylon black face. And, you know, because I was telling him, I said, Kabiese, I'm not a born African, I'm not a Nigerian. And he stopped me and he says, Ruben, how do you know? He says, for all you know, we could be cousins. Now, that was mind blowing, but I think that Kabiese actually shows us an example as Africans of what we need to think about diasporic Africans first is that it's more than just business. You know, to quote Marcus Garvey again, Marcus Garvey told us in 1924, and we were still enslaved in Africa and in Babylon, mental slavery in 1924. Maybe the chains were not there, but the mental slavery was there. But he told us then, he says, Africans, be as proud of yourselves today as our forefathers were in the days of old. We have a beautiful history, and together we shall create a future which will astonish the world. That's true, but that's only true if we come together now. So we've got 1 billion people, black people in Africa. We got 500 million in the diaspora. What is it we cannot do? if we put our heads together.
Nothing. I love that, Ruben. I think you have come from diverse perspective. I'm sure we'll still come to that, because I wanted us also to still on the fact that it's true. We have these so-called descriptions we are playing around with here, but it's all about that. Those group of people, somehow there is a trend happening out there that they have got to see that there's a relationship between them and Africa, and they want to come back and invest. They want to be part of it. They want experiences, and whatever that is going to take, Africans have to be ready to tap into that and welcome them home. Let's put it that way, really. So I want to, at this point, mention the fact that we have Mr. Tarzan in the house. We're very happy to have you, sir, if you can hear me. Mr. Tarzan. So I will give Ruben a chance to rest a bit and try to get to Mr. Tarzan now, if he's there hearing me loud and clear. Mr. Tarzan, are we together?
Thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Thank you so
having
much. I apologize for my coming in late.
No problems at all. We understand you must have a very busy schedule too. So it's a pleasure to welcome you. We're still on this topic today, hospitality. And like I said before you come, we are trying to see how does that link to some of the things that everybody is involved with today, and to bring that beautiful part out again, like we have done with tourism and aviation. So I will just ask Mr. Tarzan to please briefly introduce yourself. I know you have a wide and extensive portfolio. So just to give, for the benefit of those that don't know you, a brief introduction of yourself before we go into some of the questions we would like to ask you, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am Mr. G.S. Balogun.
So Tarzan has, Mr. Tarzan has given us the briefest introduction so far. So let me ask Mr. Tarzan. Mr. Tarzan, are you with me? Hello.
He turned off his microphone.
Mr. Tarzan,
Okay,
Mr. Tarzan, please kindly unmute your microphone.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Tarzan, I have a number of questions for you, but let me start with this one. I have because we're talking hospitality now, and we're looking at helping the young people also listening here, and will listen maybe later, to understand what are the prospects and opportunities now, I will say, because the future is now. So I have the opportunity and the pleasure recently to be with the YTDC on your beach resort, lovely place, still under construction. And it was fantastic to have Chef Smart, running the hospitality show in that resort with just the minimum facilities in place. Really, I couldn't believe that I managed to decide to taste anything there, because I'm very, very particular about eating outside. I have a delicate system and all that, but it was great having a chef really turn around and create great hospitality meals within, the lack of things that you didn't have, like in a normal hotel kitchen and all. So please, I want you to share with us, what are the opportunities you hope to see young people grab and key into in providing, would you say, key hospitality needs in a beach resort like your own? What specific things can you say they should be looking into now that you would love to see happen, from the hospitality perspective in your beach resort for the future?
Yeah, well, thank you so much. A lot can be achieved. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you. Yes. Mr. Tarzan, we can hear you loud and clear.
Guess where I am, the network is a bit bad.
Okay.
Okay. What I'm saying is that it's an opportunity having all of you together at the beach resort last couple of days ago, and I'm really, really happy to see everybody and their participation. We share ourselves into groups. So from the groups, I guess people can learn something from that united we stand, divided we fall. So with the youth guys there and girls doing different things to make things work, like you said, that with the minimum facility we have there, because the place is not yet ready, but we're able to achieve what we achieved that night and the days. So for coming together, I guess the youth has learned something, if not a lot. So I would say maybe questions that will come as we are in this discussion from each of them or from anybody, I'll be able to answer. But what I would say again is we have to be patient. The youth has to be patient. Yes, we are looking for money, but money should not be the emphasis. Should not be the first thing to think about. Giving services to people who need it. From the service you have given, then the money will come in. I guess for now, I'll stop, and when other questions come in, I'll be ready to answer.
Thank you so much. So, Mr. Taza, I'm still going to focus on you a bit still. At this point, you have a lot of experience also in the marine sector as well. So can you share your experience with us? What are the opportunities that really are available for young people to tap into in that sector at the moment? Thank you.
Yeah, for now, it's just the tip of the ice we are doing all over the country. There's still a lot of advantages for people to tap into in terms of marine. People, especially when you use Lagos as a kind of example, Lagos is jam-packed. Traffics are really, really bad. Now, people should take the advantage of that and invest. With what the palliative government is trying to give, especially I would say to the youth people, giving them some funds to be able to establish businesses and all that. Some of them should focus on the water transportation. When we talk about water transportation, when you're moving on from one end to another on the water, it's still tourism. I'm telling you, leaving Lagos to Badagry by water, even if you are going to go and do business there, it's still touristic, it's still tourism. So that means if you have a boat to move people from one place to another, let's say from Lagos to Ekpe, for instance. Ekpe is another tourist attraction where you have a lot of fishing, blah, 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 and all those things there. So somebody going to Ekpe, on the way to Ekpe, there are so many villages which we are talking to the government about, right? Putting side of the names of those villages. So as the boat is taking people to those to Ekpe, people on the boat will have, which village is that? You don't need to ask an answer, to ask questions and what you do there. So I would say there's still a lot of places that people can tap into. From, let's say, when we talk about Bariga to Marina, we talk about Oyibo to Marina, there's other places which a lot of people are living and they need to get to hinterland by water. So those areas can be tapped, which I can give them free advice, free information of those areas to operate their boats. So I would say marinas for now still have a lot of opportunities for youth to come and tap into. Thank you.
Fantastic, Mr. Tarzan. And I think this answer you gave me just made me want to now ask a question I wanted to put to you, later on. You talked about the fact that when people take this option of, using the waterways as a means of, moving around, we pass through different villages. Like I said, I had the privilege of coming to your beach and experiencing with the young people that you had invited then. And I know that the feedback I got that you had taken them on even a night boat ride to the community. I think that must have been a fantastic experience. I missed leaving a bit early. So please, I want you to share with us, coming to specifics now, the young audience listening here, because I know that your relationship with the community wasn't a one-day thing. You would have developed some skills, let me put soft skills, people skills, to be able to successfully engage with them and be a community, we really say, influencer, so that we were able to have you just walk into the Oba's house and take these people on tour. So can you share with us, what kind of skills have you developed over the years that has helped you to interact better with the community, that young people also need to start looking at if they want to start dealing with the host communities that tourism, hospitality, and aviation is going to link us to? Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. That's a very nice and good question. Yes,
sorry, I think Mr. Tarzan is breaking a bit.
Hear me now?
Okay. Well, we can, but it's cracking a bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think it's better.
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh, it's better
Yeah.
now, right?
Yes, it's a bit better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, in past years, I won't say few years, so many years past, I have paid so much through my life by making, moving people from one end to another. Like I said, one of those trips we have on the boat to the beach house, which you saw, I told them about ships. When they come into the port, into Nigerian seaports, waiting to bath, they needed a boat to bring them from their ship into the shore, onto the land, for them to see what is in Lagos, what the country looks like. So during that time, sometimes I charge 500 naira, for instance, and some of them say they have only 300 naira. That's okay, let me do it for them. I'll bring them to the shore, take them to the into the hinterland where people are, clubs and all that, and then in the night return them back to their ship. They will call me the next day or 2 days after, ready to pay that 500 naira that I've charged them earlier on, that they say they cannot pay. Because what they saw while they are outside and they are trip, they were very happy about it. So taking them to the shore as well, I'll take them to what I did to you last time, taking you to the upper palace, for them to know what the community looks like. Some of them get there and give dollars to the king. They just to appreciate. Some of them are from different countries, different part of the world, like Singapore, like Thailand, like Philippines, so that they can made of a ship, a cruise. So they are on tradition as well. Say when they go to visit a king, they always give something. So you can imagine, I remember vividly that one of them said he has to pay for a goat since he has come to see the king. He asked some of the chiefs, how much do they sell a goat there? And they told him, he brought the money and give it to the king, that they should buy a goat. And others contributed $10, $5. Before making that place that day, I'm sure the king must have got like $1,000 for giving that place. The king also came, because they're so happy. So that's the kind of relationship I have built with the communities wherever I take people to. And it has been benefit to the community. Like what we did that night, I'm sure the community they didn't expect it, but it happens, and they were happy. And some of you were happy to see what we have done that day. So in terms of community, liaising with community is very, very important. But when you move people from one end to another, you need to make the relationship between the community and the people you've taken there, they should be cordial, so that they are not, if there are armed robbers to attack on that night, I'm sure because of what we are going to do in the community, these people are good people. Look out, they are just part of us. They've come to dance, they've come to eat, they've come to drink with us. They will think twice before attacking anybody. So, and that's what tourism needs, and that is tourism. Fortunately, unfortunately, I need to talk about government. Government needs to play a very, very important role. Who are the government? Me, you. When you become the governor of any state, you become the the government of that state. So from now on, let all the youth have in mind what they are seeing now, that when they become and get themselves to corridor of power, they need to know that there are a lot of things to be put in place, a lot of policy need to be changed to be able to suit what is going on now and what will be coming next. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So, my dear audience, I think without a doubt, Mr. Tarzan has made us understand the importance of community engagement and being involved. Fantastic. So I'm going to let Mr. Tarzan rest a bit and quickly come back to Ruben, really. Ruben, are you there? Hello?
Okay. I'm here, sister. Yes.
Oh, okay, right. So, Ruben, I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned something about timeshares. And that's not very popular, here. Most young people don't even know that there are opportunities there as well to key into. Everybody's looking for either the paid job or starting something that everybody else is starting already. Can you please share with us, what are the opportunities in the timeshare, sector as well? What does it really mean for those that don't even have an idea about it?
Thank you. Yes, timeshares and fractional shares. So the best way to look at this is to imagine that you have a 100-room resort. Perhaps you keep 50 of those rooms as traditional rooms that people can rent at any time. The other 50 you would sell those rooms by the week as if that were a house. So, Miss B, you would buy 2 weeks from me, and that's yours for the rest of your life. And basically, different timeshares allow you to do it in different ways. Sometimes you choose a month, sometimes it's open and you just call for your booking. But essentially, the timeshare concept is in some ways safer for the owners of the resort because they get X amount of money. Now, from the customer's point of view, Miss B, you've bought 2 weeks at my resort that you can take for the rest of your life. So you call me and you book your time. So you would pay that fee as if that's a mortgage. And so we were selling at the Pure Beach Resort, spa and resort in St. Philip's Bay, Barbados. We were selling 1 week for $55,000. People would buy 4, 5, 6 weeks at a time as an investment. Now, once you spend that money on that timeshare, when you want to go, and there's yearly maintenance fees, just like you'd have in a condo, that make sure that the host company can upkeep that room. We used to make arrangements with our timeshare owners, fractional share owners, that the resort could rent their rooms out and they would give the owners a percentage that they could use to pay down on their mortgage. It was very popular in the late 1960s through the 1970s. When you hear Club Med and some of these other ones, they started off and some of them ended as timeshares. We have timeshares in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, La Campagna Tropicana has several chalets which are timeshare, and it's a model that works. It's a completely different type of marketing. Normally, in at least the Gambia tourism and even to some degree the Nigerian tourism, is that we deal with transient tourists, come and go. Maybe you see them again, maybe you don't. That depends a lot on your service and where they came from. With the timeshare, they kind of become your residence, although it is a residency over very sporadic periods. So from a business point of view, it's a little bit more difficult, but from the infrastructure and the operations of the resort itself is basically the same. Resorts, we don't really care where you come from. We don't care where you're going. We care what happens when you enter our gate. And so for that perspective, everything remains the same. The F&B is the same. The housekeeping is the same. It's really a business model for the owners of the facility, not so much the management or staff. It doesn't really have that much impact. There will be quite a bit of an impactful change, like on the sales component, because you're dealing with ownership now, and you're dealing with property. So there are several complications which make timeshare something one should approach very carefully. I'm personally not such a big fan of it, mainly because I made most of my business out of traditional tourists. And being the administrative manager for the couple of years that I was for Ecoterra, I just saw that it also opens the ownership side to liability that traditional tourism doesn't have. And so for that, I didn't prefer it. And maybe I'll end and I'll just talk a little bit about that liability. The liability is that Miss B, I have a commitment to you for life now. And so that's a little bit different than a traditional tourism relationship where the business itself has time to breathe. The long-term commitment is something that any owner of a facility should well think about before they get into timeshare, because you're actually selling a part of the resort forever.
Right. Well, Ruben, since you said so, I don't know if I should assume or conclude that you are saying, of course, that's from a business owner's perspective and all that. Would you say there are no opportunities for young people? Can young people approach people that are into these businesses and find opportunities to tap into there, or that's still a growing niche market that still needs to develop before we talk about opportunities there?
No, certainly. I think, I believe there's probably a tremendous opportunity in the timeshare fractional sales, but it would be as a salesperson, because otherwise it's just a traditional hospitality job. And I don't mean not to minimize it, but again, once the person who owns the timeshare enters the resort, they're going to be treated as a patron of the resort. So nothing changes there. So the same pathway, and perhaps I could talk a little bit about that, but let me talk the specific pathway. If there are youth, men and women in Nigeria that want to get into timeshare, it's really, are you able to sell the concept? It really is, you're selling ice to an Eskimo, you're selling water to a fish. Why would a Nigerian spend their money for 2 weeks at my resort? That takes a special type of salesperson. If you're persuasive and you have a product that you believe in, go for it. Again, I'd like to talk a little bit, you keep talking pathways to tourism. I think the most good that we can do for tourism as individuals, like if we're interested in it, is to really search in ourselves and find out, what is it I want to do? What is my end game? And so we all have to start somewhere. I'm not sure where Mr. Tarzan started, but I started as a lifeguard, and my last appointment was as a general manager where I had 120 staff. And so, that didn't happen overnight. And so I think the first thing we know in hospitality, okay, you're either interested, if you're a cook, you could either be a cook or you can be an executive chef. The difference between the two, other than a tremendous amount of money, is that an executive chef actually runs the business of the kitchen. Does all the ordering, does all the purchasing, sets up the menus, does all the staffing issues, the payroll, the chef is a businessman. Absolutely. Many executive chefs don't even cook anymore because they're running the business. Yeah. Sous chef is his assistant. So it just depends. Even in housekeeping, you might think that being a housekeeper has no career opportunities, but the fact is, everywhere from hospitals, anywhere to restaurants, if you don't keep it clean, if you don't know how to organize it, even department stores have the people that set up the displays. There's no difference between a person who sets up a display and a housekeeper in a resort, because you have to leave that room as though it's a display, as though it is brand new. So the main thing, the main career path in tourism is dedication. Are you good at what you're doing? Can you enter a business as a gardener and change people's perspective of the resort by the flowers and by what you do? That's important. It doesn't matter whether you're a waitress. We all know there are a big difference between good waitress and bad waitress. Good waiter, bad waiter. And I tell you what, in our industry, tips run, especially the F&B. And so a lot of times I'm able to watch my staff, and it's almost always the staff that get the most tips are the ones who provide the best service.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you so much.
yes.
Oh, sorry to cut you, Ruben. I think you wanted to add something. Please go ahead. Hello, Ruben, are you there? I thought you wanted to add something and I cut you off.
Oh,
Sorry
no, no, no.
about that.
I didn't really have anything else to say. I was just talking.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I'm going to come back to Mr. Tarzan again. Mr. Tarzan, are you there? Mr. Tarzan, are you with us? And while I'm waiting for Mr. Tarzan, I want Captain. Okay, I want Captain Osofia to just tell us how are we doing for time, so that we can know when we would need to take questions from the audience, please. So, Mr. Tarzan, if you're with me, I want to come back again because we are talking young people here. You have been doing this for a long time now, and you've got a whole lot of experience and idea. I want you to just please share with this audience as well. People talk about succession. If you are going to have a succession plan and say, I want to just hand over this, whether it's to my children or to the young people out there, what are the specific things you feel now you can hand over that young people can already come and say, look, let's get this going to the next level, really? Please share with us. Are you there, Mr. Tarzan?
I have children, and everybody needs to carry their own costs. It depends. Yes, you can't hear me.
We can hear you, even though it's breaking a bit. We can hear you, even though it's breaking a bit. Yeah, I think it's better.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I think it's better now, yes.
Well, it's okay. Yeah, I said I have children, that my children, but I have to let everybody take his own decision and his own life into his hands, but onto his hand. And some of them who really like what I'm doing. My last son, I observed that he really loves what I'm doing. I always like to be around me. So, and there's another one that was on the boat after we were going. He actually drove one of the boats that we went in. So, when I talk about succession, I'm looking forward to hand over the business to one of them. Like, I can mostly tell you that most of the boat companies operators now on the waterway, most of their staffs are those who have passed through me, who have passed through my place, who have learned from me. Sometimes the new boat, thank you. The new boat operators comes to my agency, ask questions. I give them free. I don't charge them consultation fee. I tell them, I told them what I know, what I've gone through, what they should be expecting, where we are today, where I started from, where I think we should be, where I am now. I tell them, some of them look at me and say, you don't even ask for money. You don't even ask us to pay. I said, well, I believe that the cloud is so wide enough for 20 things, 100 birds to fly. So there's no point what I've got in me now to take it to the heaven or to hell, wherever God is to put me. When I die, I don't want to die with those talent I'm having. I want to share with people.
Fantastic.
I want to give to them as much as I can afford. So succession is only God that knows the end of anything in life.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tarzan, for that. I think there should be many young people in the house now that want to talk to you about many things to do with, the boats and everything that you do. Fantastic. So let me still be with you still. I want to ask, because it's true we have said, what does your sector hold for young people?
Hello.
And I think, yes, can you hear me? And I think some of the young people who are listening here also will want to know, is there any kind of qualification or process or stages they have to go through to become what you are doing today as well? Please share with us.
Yeah, you need to go to marine school, okay? Which you have in Oron, you have in Rivers, you have in Lagos as well. But I want to tell you, like Mr. Ruben just said, he was a lifeguard. He doesn't know where Tarzan started from or what I did. I will tell you that if you look at my eyes, I have a little problem with my eyes. This is part of what I pay. When you go to the high sea in the boat, the splash of the water is salty. So salt water goes into my eyes most of nearly every day, those days, not now, and I love swimming. So what I've gone through during that particular time, I don't expect anybody to go through as well, but we have gone to the jet age now. Everything is on the internet. You Google this, you want to find out about that and all about. Experience is the best teacher. That's what I would say. So you need to go to school to study marine, and then you need the practical aspect of it. Because I'm so sorry about it. Now, the time I went to give lecture or give a presentation in Nigeria and also Yaba Tech, I realized that the theory of it is only what they were taught. They need to take the students to the field as well, not just sit in the office at all the time. I'm sorry to say, most of the engineers we have in Nigeria are office engineers. They know nothing. Some of them don't even know how to hold a screwdriver. But I've been so close to the white people. I saw they go to school at the same time. They go to the practical aspect of it. They know what's going on. When I went to Belgium for my marine studies and all that, you know, most of the time we are in the engine room. Most of the time we are in the boat building section. We only go to the office, I mean to the lecture room for some documentation and the right thing. But most 90% of it are on the field. And I'm very sorry to say, in Nigeria, instead of it's quite different because I've seen so much, I've been to many places. Like Mr. Ruben said, he was a lifeguard. Lifeguard, you know what it means. Those, when you're on the beach, the people that are there looking at the water, when it's time that it's very rough, the water is dangerous, you can't swim. You come and tell everybody that you go out of the water because it's dangerous to swim now. And if anybody is drowning, they go there to go and rescue them. This is the job of a lifeguard. But you can't do that in the lecture room. You can't do it in the room, learning. No, you have to do something. And then go to the field itself, to the sea, to go and study this. They will even pretend as somebody is somebody will be pretending and you have to go there to go and
Sorry,
if you don't know,
we have a bit of a break there, I think, from Mr. Tarzan.
do that only on paper. I'm sorry. When it really happens, you can't do nothing. So
Absolutely.
I am saying that it is very important. Yes, after in the classroom, also go to the field. From the field to the classroom to the field to know what's wrong. Just only when you can tap and kind of experience but major part of it, I can drive a boat in the night from Lagos to
With your eyes closed, I'm sure. Fantastic. I think we have lost Mr. Tarzan for a moment there, but I guess you agree with me. That's been fantastic feedback and highlights from him on his experience, you know, looking at it on and I want to quickly come back to Ruben and ask you, you know, a similar question related to what Mr. Tarzan has said. I believe in theory and practical together. The two cannot, you know, be effective alone, really. With your experience as well, and when you were talking about running that 200-bedroom job in the airport and with immigrants, it's what we'll say welfare sector. Can you share with us, how do we marry, you know, what is being studied and practically taking care of such, you know, role like that? Please share with us.
Thank you very much. I guess to all of the students out there, the first thing I have to say is that your education is only a first step. It is really just to open your eyes to the possibilities. There's nothing you're going to learn in a classroom that is really going to change your character. That has to be a choice. And so it is very important to put the two separate. Nigeria relies greatly on education. Education is very important. Whereas, and it is important, but some of the things that we're taught really don't always translate practically. And so it's really important to understand that you can be a good academic student and be a very poor tourism practitioner. And so as I'm telling my own sons, I have 3 sons in university right now, and many young people, you know, they want to study things they think will be successful. And my advice to them is study yourself. Who are you? What is it that you do best? I've gone to school several times in my life. As I said, I became a paralegal 2015. And I'm good at talking, as you can tell, but I'm not good at dealing with people's problems. I'm not good at dealing with other people's problems. And so I really had to look at myself. And again, that was one of the reasons that, you know, when opportunities in hospitality come up for me, I don't hesitate. And I'm actually working on 2 right now. You know, you have to figure out what you're good at. As Uncle Tarzan said, I do believe that there are many skills within the hospitality industry that you have to get training. As Glenn will tell you, you better not be a pilot unless you have training. Likewise, you really can't be a chef if you've never studied under a chef. For me, I don't really care necessarily if you have a degree. If you have partnered with a business that is tremendously successful, that is better for me than if you have a master's degree in tourism. You know, just to give a little bit of anecdote to close, you know, something I said earlier in talking about, you know, where I started is that sometimes in this industry, if you want to do something, you have to suppress your ego. I went in 2010, you know, I was a father of 2 at that time. And I had responsibilities. But when I had an opportunity to get into the fishing business, it actually was I became a crewman. As Mr. Tarzan said, he started off in the engine room. I started off baiting people's hooks. And I humbled myself, excuse me, so I could learn. And I learned very well that even the person who I was working with when I first started working with them, they were using me. And I knew they were using me, but I was using them. And I learned the business so that I began to take over everything this man did. You know, I would drive the boat. I would set up the lines. I would do everything. As luck would have it, and luck, I really believe, is something you make yourself. You put yourself in line for luck. And I try to do that as much as I can. As luck would have it, this guy decided to get married and move away and left me the business. So overnight, I went from being a poorly paid employee to being the Grandmaster Flash of my own 21-foot boat, hustling my own business. And I did that for 5 years running. And so I think that, you know, the biggest lesson I have for other people, be patient with yourself, get to know who you are. If you are a people person, if you like making people happy, you like making people smile, you like making people's dreams come true, you know, you want to fly a $100 million aircraft, it doesn't matter where you are. The quote that you, and I'm going to finish it, the quote that you started with about start where you are with what you have actually is a quote from Booker T. Washington that Arthur Ashe used.
Right.
And Booker T was telling my ancestors, who were the ancestors of enslaved Africans, he says, don't worry. He says, whatever you want to do, you have to understand that you have everything you need at your hands right now. The only thing that you might not have is the determination. Are you determined to become the person that you want to be? Doesn't matter if you just graduated today, you want to be a general manager, it's yours. Just don't put a timeline on it, because you never know what God has planned for you, but it's up for you to do the work yourself. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Ruben, for that brilliant insight. That I think my audience are more than gingered, because I have been seeing comments on the side. They are inspired with all the things that the panelists have been saying so far. Time is running out, even though I think I've lost all my people in the others because everybody's engrossed in this conversation. So I will just take a break now and let's see, are there questions or comments? Or maybe Mr. Glenn might want to even throw a few comments in here at this moment based on what has been said so far to further enlighten the audience, especially the young people that are listening to us here. So at this point in time, I would really want to ask Mr. Glenn, Mr. Gabe, if we have any comments we want to add to the discussion so far. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. And live coming to you from Toronto, not too far away from Ruben.
Right.
And I'm having my tea and I'm listening to this fantastic,
we're envious.
fantastic panel. And
Bon appetit.
I am so engrossed with it.
Thank you.
Well, I want to add a little bit more to what Ruben is saying about fractioning, because we do that as well in the aviation industry. We do fraction aircrafts as well, business jets, for people who may not have the capability of buying a business jet, but have enough money. It may cost them probably anywhere between $5,000 to $17,000 to fraction a jet. So that is very much in the industry. I am just like Ruben. I'm not really a strong person when it comes on to fractioning as well. I think that it does more harm to the tourism industry. It takes away a lot in the sense of the personal service that we want to give the customer. Okay, they're sort of off a little bit of what I call often a little bit of a tangent. But and then coming back to Ruben.
Mr. Glenn, sorry to cut you because some of us understand the fraction there. I just wanted you to, for the clarity of the audience, just to explain what you mean, what you are relating that to, really, the fraction you were saying.
Okay, let me see if I can give a good analogy of fractioning. Okay, we take one aircraft, and what you're going to do is you're going to have probably 10 people, 10 owners of the aircraft. And you're going to give them, let's say, 2 days out of the week or 2 days out of the month to use that aircraft wherever they want to go. Now, that will give them, usually it is usually a 1-year contract where that person will have use of the aircraft anywhere that they would like to fly. Now, but there are some additional cost to that. Although that you're renting the aircraft, there is still cost of fuel. It all depends on where you want to fly. You may want to fly from, for argument's sake, from Nigeria. You want to go to London, England. You have to pay for the cost of the fuel. So it's not just the cost of renting the aircraft, but it's also the cost of fuel. Now, what is the advantage of that? You're going to get VIP treatment all the way. For those people who want exclusion from the normal crowd of people, you have your own check-in, you have your own customs when you arrive, and immigration is not that strict. So you're able to sort of get away with a lot. Um, the comfort that you're flying in is fantastic. The entire aircraft is yours, and you're at leisure to enjoy that flight. So that is fractioning. So you take one aircraft, 10 people are going to own it, and then you're going to make a decision how you want to use that aircraft and when you want to use that aircraft.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Glenn, on that. So, dear audience, it's similar to what Mr. Ruben had told us also about timeshare. So, it's
Exactly.
like he said, it's not something he would sort of say is the best because maybe we might compromise standards and a few other things. But I guess anybody that wants to take the risk is free to do so somehow. Really, so fantastic. So I don't know if there's still other comments from the audience, things you want to share with us, experiences or other comments as well, really. And while we're waiting for that, you can post your questions in the chat. I want to go back to Mr. Ruben and Mr. Tazan again, just for a few things for them to share with us. Ruben, you talked about the fact that when you were running the hotel still that we talked about in the airport, it was a good way to make money somehow because it was a different sector and all. Can you share with us what you mean by that and what sort of opportunities you were looking at in that line? Yes.
Okay. And just to, as a point of clarification, I call it an airport hotel because it was situated near the airport, but we were about 5 miles away from the airport. So it wasn't quite that near, but Toronto is very much like Lagos. So you could be 5 miles away, but it'll take you 5 hours to get there. So, you know, we were pretty close. So with the hotel industry, there are a number of different markets, obviously. And just to mention, Miss B, I see Gabe has his hand up, so maybe we don't forget him too.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But so the airport plaza industry, the airport hotel industry is predominantly a business travelers market. And so the hotels tend to have very little in the way of entertainment other than bar and restaurant, because what do business travelers want to do? They want to have a refreshment and they want to get their head down. So there's really not that much else going on there. Again, once you get into proper leisure tourism, which I prefer, that's where it gets much more fun.
Right.
So is that an answer to your question?
Yes, definitely. So it's you would say since it's more of leisure now, let's talk about the fact that do you think there are special skills that young people need to also develop to be able to perform and be productive, relevant in the leisure space?
Yes, I think, I've heard you mention this a couple of times, and I really just want to be clear is that within the hotel hospitality industry, we have very many boring jobs.
Absolutely.
I say boring. Let me just say they're not leisure jobs. I mean, you have accounting, you have plumbing, you have air conditioning, you have dishwashing, all these things. So number one, are you good at something? Do you enjoy something? Are you willing to do something well to get ahead? So that's number one. I mean, if you're not willing to go through the learning curve to develop skills to get good at something, we probably don't need you. So that would be the main thing. The second thing, when you're talking the leisure side and you're talking in front of the client, okay, so these are positions I feel are quite important because you become the face of the resort, you become the face, you become the personality. How many of us have had a problem with a junior staff somewhere, at a restaurant, and maybe one of the waiters vexed us, and now we don't go back to the restaurant because of one waiter. So attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. And I'm a person, people think I have a bad attitude. I'm one of those people because I'm in a position of leadership. I get what I want. And I don't always have to say please. But you put me in front of a client, I'm a
It's a
different
different
person
ballgame.
altogether. I'm a yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Right.
Because, and again, it goes back to the same thing that we said, is that, you know, you must know how to conduct yourself. There's another Yoruba proverb, which I think fits very well in our industry. And that's that um, you must feed your character as your God, as your deity. Because your character is what opens every door for you and is really what you'll be judged on. And, you know, it's so important that you work on your character. It doesn't matter if you've had a bad day, your wife tells you she hates you, your children say you're stupid. When you go to work, you put your uniform on,
Right.
you are that person.
Absolutely.
I wish I had sent you some photos. When I was at Sun Beach Hotel running Blue Water Sports, my uniform was a life jacket and a pair of shorts. Now, I used to eat in the five-star restaurant with
Right.
the clients because I lived in the resort. I had a staff chalet. I was at the resort 365 days a year. So I used to wear my life jacket and my shorts and my flip-flops to breakfast every morning. I'd be sitting there having breakfast with 200 people because we had 234 rooms at Sun Beach Hotel. And in the almost 5 years I was there, we were never less than 95% occupied,
Right.
which is something Nigeria, I would love Nigeria to have that because my time in Nigeria, I had way too much occupancy. But, you know,
Fantastic.
the point I'm trying to make about that is that I was really into my job.
Right.
I was the waterman, as Mr. Tarzan can probably tell you. And I love the fact that he say the spray get in his eyes. I know what that's about. And it's true. It's hard work. This is something also, and Glenn can tell you, you know, the life of a pilot is glamorous, but people don't tell you the issues they have with their back. They don't tell you the issues they have with other things. I had both of my hips replaced
Wow.
because of the damage that I put my body through on the water. The water is a very dangerous place. You know,
Right.
it's very dangerous. And you know, the point is that I put myself in that danger because I
Right.
love it
Right.
and I'm good at it. And I can bring people home safely. I know what I'm doing because I learned. I didn't learn quickly. I learned slowly.
Right.
And I had time. I took time with myself. I took time with my job. I didn't try to get ahead. And this is something else I really want to impart on the young people, that, you know, you compete not with your ego. You compete with your skill and you compete with your character. You know, that's the competition you're in. Is it, who are you as a person? And, you know, one of the things I can say is that whether it's my customers or my staff, what do I want them to think about me? One, I want their respect because I think we'll treat each other better if we respect each other. Two, I want them to think that the service that I'm offering them is worthy. Three, I want them to feel I'm competent. And four, I want them to know that I'm part of a team. Okay. It's not a one-man show. You know, that's why as GM, I'm not one of those GMs that is untouchable. I'm not the one that sits in his office. I am everywhere. I know everybody's name. I know everybody's job. Everybody is important to me. Okay. And, you know, I think that that is really what I want to end on, is that, do you have a passion? Are you willing to be patient, to learn, to be competent at that? And can you go to work every day and give your 100%? And that's really what it takes to get ahead.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Ruben. At this point, before I asked the two of you to give us what you think we should take home from here, there are two questions I want to chip in here. You know, the first, from the privilege of being a female moderating this, and I must say I've been a bit sad the past few days that I haven't seen a lot of females attending this webinar, and I think there's still a lot, you know, to do in terms of creating awareness. With the little experience that I have, you know, with mentoring young girls, I want to say as a concerned female and trainer that I see a collective need that we need to pass the message loud and clear out there that our sectors are valid professional career paths for females, and we know what we are selling, and guardians, parents, our community and society can feel and respect young females as also future leaders in this sector space as well. So I want you, as people that have been operating in this area, what can you say to our female young people out there? What do they still need to do to be representative, to be relevant? Because like I say, I think we have gone beyond beauty only. They have to have something to bring to the table. Can you share with us from your experience? What do young females still need to bring to these three sector spaces to be relevant and to be represented accordingly? Thank you. Mr. Ruben, maybe we'll start with you.
Thank you very much. I think first and foremost, I personally want to say that women have a tremendous role in this industry. And it's not an exaggeration to say that if I could hire women for every role, I would probably do that. My brothers, we men, sometimes, you know, to me, it's just a fact that women, number one, have proven to me in the hotel hospitality industry that they are oftentimes more compassionate, easier to diffuse situations, that certainly the hospitality industry needs more women, more dedicated, talented women. There's no doubt about that. I think that, you know, unfortunately, my sisters, you have gone through so much oppression over the past 10,000 years, but we're in the 21st century now.
Absolutely.
And I certainly think that many of the problems the resorts and the tourism businesses in Nigeria and the Gambia and Canada have had have really been because men's egos have gotten the best of them. You know, how many beautiful resorts in Nigeria have you been to, but you walk into the housekeeping and you walk into the bedrooms and you don't want to stay there. I guarantee you put a woman in charge of that resort, that's going to change. Men and women, we're not the same. We might be equal, but I would much prefer to deal with women. I've had better experiences with women chefs, with actually, believe it or not, the area where I don't like women is as my housekeeping managers. I prefer a man, but everywhere else I would put a woman. And you know, yeah, I think that what we have to do, there's another reality, and I want to call that here. Right. And Nigeria doesn't suffer from it as much as the Gambia and even Jamaica. Which I've spent some time in as well. Right. And that is the sex tourism. That's, you know, tourism bringing the wrong elements. Okay. And I lived through this for 11 years. You go to the Gambia, you'll see, you know, beautiful 20-year-old woman with a 75-year-old European man. Okay. Now I'm all for love, but that's not love, and that's the wrong type of business.
An image you're creating.
We in the tourism industry, we have a responsibility.
Thank you so much for that.
To responsible tourism, and especially, you know, we people of African descent. Are we going to pimp our daughters and our sons?
Thank you so much.
These worthless tourists. I don't think so. So I think again it comes down to character. I think that as
Fantastic.
the owners and the operators of tourism businesses,
Fantastic.
you know, we have to stop turning our eyes,
Fantastic.
and
Fantastic.
you know, and be responsible. I think, and
I love that.
as women, it is very clear that you are more at risk in this particular regard. But I got to tell you that um, persevere. Don't take crap from anybody.
Fantastic.
If you experience anything like this, the thing you have to do is you got to stand up and don't sit down until that person is identified. We don't
Lovely.
need this in our
Lovely.
industry. We don't need it.
Fantastic.
And you
Fantastic.
know, I
Fantastic.
want to end. I want to end at that. But definitely, we need more women. Don't be afraid. Don't be
Fantastic.
intimidated.
Fantastic.
Even though the man that you're talking to might not know who you are, if you know who you are yourself, you
Right.
can get over him. You can get over them at any time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ruben. I saw Mr. Glenn, applauding this. And I'm so happy that you've hit a lot of things, on the head that I would have tried to see where to put it and not make it long. Thank you so much for that. And I want to take this opportunity to a shout out to the women and the young girls out here, because you definitely don't know how much we're what in this industry, and so much is expected from us. And it's gone beyond, like I said, beauty. There's a lot that we have to offer, and we don't have to condone to what's going on at the moment, because a lot is going on. And with the experience we have as trainers and concerned females also interacting with the industry, we need to change the narrative. We are not part of the products and services. We are people that are serving and giving a service, and we want to send that message loud and clear. So thank you so much, Mr. Ruben. I will just ask Mr. Glenn, in case he wants to chip one or two things, to add to that. Mr. Glenn, any comment you would like to make on that? Thank you.
Well, I will just add to what Ruben is saying, because although that I have an airline called Fly Jamaica and another airline, which I'm starting up out of Canada, cargo airline, I live majority of my time in Dominican Republic. And it is very embarrassing to see young women lowering themselves to men of that age, and it is very painful to see that. Now, economically, I can understand that some women need a job, and they're trying to reach anything at all for them to survive. But there are many different things in tourism which they can get into, many other different areas they can get into to earn money, and not really falling into this trap, into sex tourism. It really hurts me. And as Ruben said, you see a 75-year-old man, and you see a 20-year-old girl, and you're looking on her and you're asking, what is wrong with you? Can't you improve yourself? I just want to just
Exactly.
hold them and say, look, I can help you, but you have to want to help yourself first. Okay? You cannot be in this type of role. I know you probably have a child, majority of them do, but there are ways and means of building your self-esteem, and getting ahead in life. Um, it's painful. It is actually painful. And for
Right.
me, what I see is white men taking advantage of our daughters, our
Right.
sisters. It is
Right.
painful.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Glenn. So it's time well spent, I hope, and time is not on our side now. We have to wrap up. So I would just say, Mr. Tarzan and Mr. Ruben, to give us, what do you want us to take away from this panel discussion today, and as we wrap up the webinar for the past 3 days. So let me hear from Mr. Tarzan first. Mr. Tarzan, what would you want us to take away, the young people listening and
Yeah.
everybody here today?
Yeah. Experience with everybody now. In the 70s or early 80s, when I used to move people from their ship to the shore, I have done a lot of frog jump on the naval patrol boats. I'm just trying to support what Mr. Ruben has been saying, what he has experienced. Then no boat should be sailing on the water as from 8 o'clock. But my business, I have to take people ashore to have fun and bring them back to their ship. The naval officers stop me, tie my boat to their own, put me on board their boats, and ask me to jump from jump. You know what I mean by front jump? Hold your head. I am not robbers. I am moving people from one end. They said, "Man, we don't want to see you." They've done that to me many times. But they became my friend at the end of the day. Because they see me every night taking people ashore. On their way going, when they see the people on the boat, the white men and all that, they will say, "Okay, go and drop them." After dropping them, going back, then I'll face the problem. But later on, they became my friend. They know that my boat is not used for any criminal activities, but it's used to, that's what we call aquatic tourism. We take people from one end to another. So I've suffered that a lot, but I did not give up. What I'm trying to say is perseverance. Whatever you are doing that you believe in, and you know you are not doing anything criminal, you need to forge ahead. You need to go into it. Like Ruben said, yesterday, I still operate a crane. Yesterday, I still took boat from VI, my Tarzan Jetty VI, to Badore, because when I called Uber, and I saw the Uber is charging me 4,800 to go to Badore, I checked the fuel I'm going to use from my jetty to Badore is about 7,800, but I'll be out of traffic. So I put the fuel on the boat, take my boat, take the fuel to Badore to go and give my staff. What I'm trying to tell you is that when Mr. Ruben was saying, you have to be everywhere or nearly everywhere in your business if you are interested. It is something that we call passionate. If you like what you are doing, you don't care about making money first. What you do is to serve the people, let them enjoy your service. Our boats at Badore to Ijede every day, we move more than almost 1,000 people every day. 5 o'clock, I'm on the way to that place. I bought a bike now. I ride on bike to Badore because of traffic. But God has been taking care of me. I've been doing it and I will continue doing it. So, and life is what? Give and take. But most especially, if you give more, at the end of the day, you get more. So I'm just saying that perseverance is one of the business of tourism. Tourism is the major labor employer in the world. A small hotel, a small, just let me say 4 rooms hotel, needs 4 waiters, needs 4 room service, nearly everything 4. You can imagine how many people will get employed. So my youth, do not give up on your dreams. Whatever your dreams are, face it squarely, never give up, never be shy, don't be afraid, don't be scared, as long as it's not criminal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tarzan. So very quickly, Mr. Ruben, thank you so much for that, Mr. Tarzan. We are very grateful. Mr. Ruben, let's hear from you, your takeaway, please.
Thank you very much. And I must say, I'm delighted at this platform. I think that I would love to be a part of this on an ongoing basis. Just imagine the wealth of experience between Uncle Tarzan and Mr. Glenn, even some of the other faces I see here. I know that all of you have something to impart. So I would think that this is the most important aspect I'd like all of us to take away from this, is that this extra effort each and every one of us have done to be on this platform is the difference between 4-star and 5-star. As Mr. Tarzan said, you know, perseverance will get you through. As Mr. Glenn can tell you, you know, the startup routine for an aircraft is not like a car. that if you're not dedicated to learn what each and every switch and toggle does, you're not going to do that job. The tourism industry and even we ourselves are the same. We've got to work on our character as much as we've got to work on our employment skills. And so I would just like to leave everybody with that to me, the most important aspect of any business for the individual has got to be what you get out of it. And if you don't see a path to your dreams and what you're doing, it's probably not a career. And if you do see a path to your dreams, then understand that that path is lubricated with your own effort. And so if you want to clear that path, you've got to work on your own character. You've got to be the person who you want to be to do that job. And it's easy to start. We wake up with ourselves every day. We don't have to go to school to learn how to be a better person. We just have to look at ourselves and decide we want to do that.
Fantastic. Wow. Thank you so much, Ruben, Mr. Tarzan, for giving us, this wealth of experience and highlight. And like I said, I love quotes. They're apt. They're like a light bulb for me. So I'm just going to finish also with one while I wait for Sophia to take over, and let's see what's the next thing with the time. It says, either you run the day or the day runs you. So don't let the day or your dream, get run by something else. So dream big, but start small. Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure being with everybody here. We hope to see you in another forum. So over to Sophia for the day. Thank you. Hello, Sophia, are you there?
Yeah, I'm not sure Sophia is there, Miss B.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that Obina is here.
I am. Okay.
Okay.
I am. Okay, Sophia.
All right. Welcome back, Sophia.
Myself.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Thank you very much for this section. It's a section that it was an interesting section, and we really loved it. Thank you, Mr. Ruben, Mr. Tarzan. And I quickly want to drop this. Mr. Mudibu wasn't able to connect because of some network issues. So he sent his love, he sent his regards to everyone, and he hopes to be part of our next meeting as we organize, as we keep organizing meetings. He hopes to be in any of the events. So thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. B, for organizing and moderating this section. It was a wonderful one. Quickly, we would like to go to Glean section. I think we'll just be taking just 10 minutes so that we can wrap up. So I'm going to be bringing Captain Emmanuel, great, back to this section. Captain Emmanuel, the floor is over to you. Let's hear what Mr. Glean has to say, since he wasn't able to present on Monday. So let's do a quick roll on this so that we can start rolling out our scholarship.
All right. Mr. Glenn, it's wonderful to see you again. I'm so glad, I'm so happy that you could join us today, finally. And my deepest condolences, my deepest condolences once again. I was looking forward to having you on Monday. I had to stand in for you, but I missed you a lot, and I know everyone did. So without wasting any further time, because we are way behind schedule, I want to believe everybody here knows who Glenn Logan is. He's the CEO of Flight Jamaica, but I'm not going to do the introduction. I'm not going to do that because I would like him to tell us by himself what and who he is, and then give us his very brief presentation. Now, for those of you who are hospitality students, hospitality professionals here, and you're falling in love with aviation, and you're wondering what's going on, what are those guys doing there? I want you to listen very, very attentively to Mr. Glenn as he speaks. He's someone I personally want to listen to myself. And Mr. Glenn, I'm very, very sure you have fantastic action-oriented points to give to young people who are looking for opportunities in the aviation industry. So, Mr. Glenn Logan, the floor is yours now.
Thank
And you
you.
have
Thank you.
just 7 minutes to do everything. 7 minutes. So that we
Wow.
can start rolling out the scholarships. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm a pilot. I went to aviation school in Miami. I flew 737s 200 series for Air Florida. Um, I enjoyed it immensely. I got out of it because of a medical problem. And as my mother said to me, always have a backup. Always have a backup in life. And luckily, I did a second part of my university studies for marketing, and I remain in marketing up to this day. But most of it part in aviation. I have started 4 airlines in Canada. Canada 3000 comes to mind. The other one is called Nation Air. Air Transat, I had a few parts in helping that off the ground. And lastly, Porter Airlines, which is a commuter airline out of Toronto Island. Most of the airlines I'm saying, probably Ruben knows them. But most of all, I think one of my greatest achievements was working with an organization called Caribana, the Caribbean Culture Committee in Toronto. I was brought in to revive or to streamline tourism in the biggest way because this organization brought in about, I would say, to the city of Toronto, $250 million over a 7-day period. And revelers coming from all parts of North America and the Caribbean were coming in groves. But this particular time, what we did, I zone in on the marketing in many different ways, making sure that it was well distributed. So I got BET television from the United States, which is black television, and then also working very closely with Air Canada, the hotel community, all of the hotels in downtown Toronto. And for the first time, we broke a barrier of 2.5 million people coming into Toronto over a 4-day period, which was just astronomical. I later went back into the airline industry and helping to start 2 other airlines, one out of South Florida called Panagra, and then also doing a lot of consulting work for another airline, which is in Mexico called Interjet. I then moved back into Air Jamaica, back in Toronto and Jamaica to reestablish the route that Air Jamaica had vacated for about 10 years, actually 15 years, in helping Air Jamaica to expand, not fly Jamaica. And after that, I then worked in the hotel industry in Toronto as vice president of sales and marketing for the Travel Lodge, and then went back into the airline industry. It's always calling me. And that's when I then met with the owner, the original owner of Fly Jamaica, who then wanted more marketing because he did not know anything at all about marketing. Pilots make the worst marketers, although I'm a pilot. So what I then do is basically I was running everything to the point that he said, buy the airline. You know exactly what to do. And so I did. At this present time, we are down doing what's called recertification to get back into the air again, but it's just a matter of time. Now, COVID had played a damaging role to the industry, and every airline around the world is feeling it badly. So what we have done is I've shifted my thoughts and energy towards cargo, which is needed right now around the world, particularly in the Caribbean, Central America, and coming into the Americas, North America, that is. So that is where I am, and I can tell you there is lots more to really tell you, but since I only have 7 minutes, I'll just make it very short.
Captain, are you there? Captain? Sophia? Captain? Sophia? Mr. Glenn is done. Okay.
Miss B, we have Gabe.
I think
Yeah,
Sophia.
thank you very much, Logan, for that wonderful session and presentation. And I love listening to you all the time. And unfortunately today, my bandwidth is very, very low. I want you to see my face so that you can remember. We've met so many times, other meetings like that. And I asked you to spend 7 minutes because I was hoping to give 3 minutes to any person who would like to ask any question. I have a lot of hospitality people here who are very fascinated about aviation, and they've been asking a lot of questions. And I don't want to be the one to be taking those questions alone. I want you to come out and attend to some of them. So let me start with Miss B. Miss B, you've been asking me a lot of questions about aviation. And here is Captain Logan. Do you have any question for Captain Glenn? His presentation.
I would say I have been asking a lot of that question also because of the niche I have been dealing with over the years, because I see that sometimes within the curriculum, many times, even though we're given like a general overview of these sectors, hospitality and tourism, very few people know about the aviation space. So I would love to ask, given this opportunity now, Mr. Glenn, what do you think, or do you think there's enough information within our curriculum that somehow is preparing the young people for this industry? Or what do you think we can do more, perhaps as learners and as educators as well? Thank you.
First of all, I think that the key thing is passion. You gotta have the passion to really want to do it and to get it, because aviation is hospitality as well. You're entrusting me with your bags and also taking you from point A to point B. Just like what Ruben mentioned early on in lifting up tables and carrying everything. I get on the plane and I vacuum the aircraft as well, clean the seats, and making sure that everyone can see me in this role. Is not sitting behind a desk and dictating and telling people what to do. It is leadership, okay? And leadership comes into making sure that we're all on one team. That's the most important thing. Making everyone feel important, making sure that the team that I'm working with is empowered. So you have to come with an open mind and the ability to say, okay, what do I want out of this? Where do I want to go? How do I want to propel myself into an area that I think that is good for me? Now, there are vast different areas in aviation, and it splinters in many different areas, inside and outside of aviation. It touches and ripple across the industry in many different ways.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Logan.
Okay, Captain, sorry to cut you because of something Mr. Glenn said, and I think I recall Mr. Ruben mentioned, this thing of getting one's hands dirty, whether you are a leader or what. I think I would love you to talk a bit more about that, because especially when I think about the Nigerian setting, everybody wants to be Oga or the boss, really. So sometimes even you find employers that will say, they wouldn't do that. It's for the staff. Can you, talk a bit more about that and why this is
Hold on, Miss B. Hold on, Miss B. Mr. Glenn, I want you to put a pin on that question from Miss B, because I have this very important question that came up on the day one of the event, which I want you to respond to. Ivana was here on the day one on the aviation section, and she mentioned that our organization, the African 99s, have scholarship opportunities for young people, but only for girls. And I was taking her home like, I hope you're not going to have to sue you guys for gender inequality here. What about the boys and the men? So Mr. Glenn, the truth of the matter is that aviation training is very expensive. Either it's flight training, air traffic control training, airport operation training. It's capital intensive. What do you think we can do in Africa to, if not roll out scholarships, or is it possible to reduce the cost of aviation training so that a lot of our young people who are passionate about aviation can come into aviation and at a very reduced cost? I'd like you to respond to that question before you now respond to Ms. B's question. Thank you, Mr. Logan. The floor is yours.
Okay. I think that there are many different ways. One, let's take it at I'm going to start at a simple level. The first thing is I do think that people in the industry in those particular areas can go back to schools, elementary schools, high schools, and talk about it to students so that they can get familiar with it. Second thing, I think that the government has a key role to play in a sense of mentoring and opening these avenues to people. I can say that in the Seychelles Islands, they do this, where the government do play a key role in getting people in tourism and also in aviation. So if a small island like the Seychelles can do this, I think that there are African countries which can enter in the same thing, mentoring, showing people that there are ways in how they can teach people to get into the industry. The other thing is the internet is filled with so many tutorials where on YouTube you can see exactly, it's filled with, I call it a treasure trove of information that you can see exactly how people do certain things, and it can teach you a lot. So there are many different ways, but again, you have to want to do this. You got to hunger for it. I remember the best quote from my wife. She said, "You love it. You love aviation. You sleep it. You eat it. You breathe it, and sometimes you make love to it."
That's serious. Wow, that's a fantastic quote. Can't imagine that. Thank you very much, Mr. Logan. Now you might want to respond to Ms. B's question.
Can you repeat your question?
Okay, Ms. B.
Getting the hands dirty, that to highlight more and talk about it, especially in the environment we have now, that everybody just wants to be boss up there, really.
Again, I think that this image of sitting in a white castle and staying at the top and dictating what to do comes from our colonial fathers from England, who teaches this is how it's supposed to be done, with a stiff upper lip. No, in this day and age, you have to interact with people and you have to mentor people. You have to show people this is what it takes to get there, and bringing them across and saying, okay, we're all on a team here. There's no I in team. We're all a team here. And for this to work, every facet has to work together. And if you're going to show that, you have to be a part of it in rolling up your sleeve. I love it. I love it. I sometimes go out on the ramp and I load the bags, and they're shocked to see me doing that, but I enjoy it. And when you see that, you know what happened? They work 10 times harder because they see you doing it. They clean the plane 10 times harder, faster when they see me there. Because if he's out there doing this, he can do my job. And I say to them, there is no part of this airline industry I don't know. And I am involved in everything. You can't pull wool over my eyes, and I know exactly how the job is done. So when you do that, then there's a different respect that they have for you. And seeing you cleaning the aircraft, they are astounded. And then you become, I would say, I like to call it, is a thin line between friendship and also management, but you're able to communicate on a more personal level with that person, not looking down at the person, but speaking to them and in a normal way, trying to really get them to motivate them. And I enjoy doing that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Glenn. You've said it all. Wonderful. more of that.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you very much, Captain Logan. Miss B, thanks for chipping in that very important question. And I don't know if Mr. Glenn have some scholarships for us today. I hope so.
Captain, please, before we
Wouldn't
go to
want to
that
ask.
question,
I would
yes,
definitely hand over to
before,
Sophia to take that.
yes, please,
So
before
let's
we
find
go
out.
to that question, we have Mr. Gabe. His hands has been raised like forever, and I would want us
Woo!
to listen. Then we
Mr.
have some
Gabe, so
questions,
sorry.
yes, on our chat room. Please, let's attend to those questions also before we go forward.
Okay, Mr. Gabe, so sorry your hand was raised. We kind of missed it. We were enjoying Logan and Ruben. So please unmute your microphone and give us a contribution, Mr. Gabe. Mr. Gabe, are you there? Oh, it seems to be busy.
Okay, please, let's attend to the questions.
All right, let's go
Yes,
to the
yes, sir. Thank you,
questions.
sir.
Okay, I think I can see this question from Omar in the chat room requesting for, okay, I think we already took this question about aviation scholarships already, and I think Captain Logan already did justice to that. So do we have any other question uh,
Captain,
from
sorry,
previous
but I
conversation?
think, Captain, I think there's another side to that question as well, because I think she's asking also, in terms of work and study in that line, how does one, those that are interested, it seems, how do you get into it?
Okay, okay, I can see that now. Work and study program in aviation for interested youths, and which countries should youth look for? Mr. Logan, do you have anything to say to that?
Okay, there's an organization which is called IATA and ICAO. For IATA, there are many different training modules which you can access online and also, again, from YouTube. This will be a great learning tool for people who would like to really elevate themselves or an introduction into tourism and aviation. Um, so I would urge them to really contact IATA and see what are the online lessons that they do have. ICAO is also one of the other organizations which do offer some sort of training as well. Um, I should also say there are a few schools. I do know there's a school in Dominican Republic. There's a school as well in Florida which concentrate, and also in Canada, right here in Canada, Georgian College is one of the best schools in Canada when it comes on to aviation and tourism.
Thank you so much, Mr.
I
Glenn,
hope I answered the
for your
answered
response.
the question.
Yes, yes, you did. Yes, you did. In fact, to buttress your point, just over the night, I was actually going through a free iCal online course on green recovery for African aviation. Very fantastic course content. Like you said, iCal has a lot of free content. IATA also does have some free content on their YouTube channel. And I think there are some schools, actually, I know some grant school online that have some particular modules that are free. I know of Glen
Exactly.
Aviation. Glen Aviation. In fact, I wanted to think maybe Captain Logan is actually the owner of Glen Aviation. So this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do, Captain Logan. I think maybe in the chat room, maybe or maybe on the panelist WhatsApp platform, we can actually drop some links to some of this free training for both aviation and this is all to all the panelists now, including Mr. Ruben and Mr. Tazan and all the panelists. If we have any of these links for free online resources that young people can actually get their hands down and study up, let's drop those links in our WhatsApp platform so we can actually get it across to all our participants. So thank you very much, Captain Logan, for being here. And I want to see more of you And thank you very much for making yourself available even despite what has happened. Our condolence, our deep condolence still remains with you. And we pray that God gives you the fortitude.
Just one thing before I go.
Okay.
Not Captain Logan, is Glenn.
Come on. Every other person can take that. I might not take that because you're a pilot, I'm a pilot, and let's just leave it like that, okay? I know you love to answer Glenn, but I'll still put the captain, you know. All right.
I'm deeply humbled.
Thank you very much for gracing us today with your wonderful attention. And thank you, everyone. Ruben, it's so wonderful to see your face. I remember when I met you at Fair Grand Resort last year for NATOP AGM, and you were such a wonderful person, getting your hands dirty, getting your boots on the ground. And I love the fact that you said both the dishwasher and the front deck staff are equally important. I love that. And I remember you for that. So over to you now, Sophia. Let's start the scholarship talks. Sophia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time and for moderating. Thank you. Thank you, Glenn. This has been a very interesting section. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tan. Thank you, Mr. Gay. Thank you, Chidzie. Thank you, Berry. Thank you, everyone that has made this program a success. I really appreciate you all. Thank you, the participants. And really, I want to introduce somebody to this platform. His name is Emmanuel Egons. Yes, I call him that for short for his surname. He's the owner of Makoko Dream. He started that project. We have a place called Makoko in Lagos, that is a riverine area. So he started that project helping the children of Makoko, both boys and girls, get to school on boats. Like they have their own boat as school bus, just the way we have school bus on the road. So I would personally want to introduce him to the group today and welcome him personally. Mr. Emmanuel, if you are there, would you just say hi to the house? If you're still on. Okay, I believe he has left. So let's go on to the next agenda. We are giving out certificates for this particular training. So please, everyone that has registered so far, we want you to get back to us and send us your right name, like your full name, the way you want your name to appear on the certificate. So I would now ask Obina, which is my co-host, to put down the email address where they can send their full names. Hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you, but we hope Obina can hear you too. Or maybe Obina, okay. Captain, maybe Obina needs his mic unmuted.
Yes, okay, Obina can unmute his microphone now.
Okay, so I would need him to quickly type out our email address so that everybody can send in, send in their name. Okay, well, while he's doing that, hello.
I think Obina's network is with a lot of challenges. Bad. So
okay,
you might just want to use the chat room.
Okay, and apart from that, other questions that our participants have, please send it also to this email address that I'm putting on the chat room so that we can answer them. Once you throw it to whichever speaker you want to, we will get it across to them. Then we will get it across to you too.
Captain, it's as if Sophia is muted.
Okay. I think I have unmuted myself now. Can you hear me? Okay,
yes,
so
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, so that is it. The email address is on our chat room. So please let's quickly go there and copy the email. Send your full name so that we can send your certificate to you. Then apart from that, we talked about scholarship yesterday, and it's still very valid now. We are giving away 20 scholarship opportunities to 20 participants. Now, the scholarship is tuition free, tuition 100% scholarship is on tuition. So you're going to school and you're not paying for your tuition fee. Now, this is how it's going to work. The first 20 people who is going to send an email to SACSTEAM20@gmail.com, SACSTEAM20, which have been put on the chat room, SACSTEAM20@gmail.com. You send us an email, tell us what exactly you want to study and why you want to study that course. When you send it to us, we are going to push it down to the school's email, and they will get back to you. The admission officers will get back to you with your admission later and processes. So I think that is that for the scholarship. For those of us in the house, and I really want us to take advantage of this because I've had lots of people calling ever since they saw the scholarship post, and I told them anyone who is not a participant in this program will not get opportunity to have that. So let's make use of this opportunity. So that's that for the scholarship. I would like to give the floor open to any of our speakers who would have a closing remark to our people, to our youth, because we are shutting down this section. And before we do that, the closing remark, I want to give opportunity to Captain because he personally promised me that he's going to be rolling out online scholarship to students. So let's also hear from him and hear his own rollout scheme. So Captain, over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sophia. And I'm so honored to be your host for this event once again, and also to be actually delivering some actionable solutions to the issue of aviation training. And it's my pleasure and that of my team to be offering certain online scholarships for participants of this particular webinar, not just those who registered, but those who actually participated in this webinar, either day 1, day 2, or day 3. We are going to be giving 2 categories of scholarships. Okay, the first one is a tuition-free scholarship for 5 participants. 5 participants who are going to send us a mail to info@tourismtbs.com. The first 5 emails we received about your name, what aviation course you want to study, and your current qualification. Please send that to us at info@tourismtbs.com. TBS Aviation and Tourism Institute is an online aviation, tourism, and hospitality institute. And now that COVID-19 has happened, that now everybody now has become familiar with online learning. So it has become more easier for us to be able to get people on board to learn. As of last night, I think I was still taking an online class till around 10 p.m. for different category of students for different courses. So what we are doing for the purpose of this webinar and this event is we are rolling out 5 full tuition scholarships for the first 5 people, and then 5 50% tuition-free scholarship for another category of 5 people. So that's a total of 10 scholarships that we are having. Now, participants for this scholarship or beneficiaries should please note that the scholarships are for online study strictly, because COVID-19 social distancing has actually brought online learning to the forefront, and we're not planning to open for classroom study until sometimes mid next year. So the first 5 people to send us an email get the tuition-free scholarship 100%, while the next 5 people will get 50%. Now, it's very important that you are aware that this scholarship is only for tuition. So that means you're still definitely going to have to pay for your admission form fee, pay for your course materials, and definitely pay for your certificates. Those 3 things need to be said because I don't want to have any backlash. Oh, it was a free scholarship. I don't know. The tuition is free for 100%, and then for another set of 50%. But then you get to still pay for your admission fee, pay for your course materials, and also pay for your certificate. I think that's it with me. So I'm going to drop the email again on the platform so that you can get it once and for all. It's going to be info at tourismtbs.com. So send us exactly what you want to study, your full name, your address, and your choice of course of study. And then we'll respond almost immediately. Thank you very much. That's it for me, Sophia. The floor is now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Captain, for the wonderful house here. Okay, Dozier sent a message just now. The course now, when I spoke with the owner of the aviation school, he said that he's encouraging students right now to take courses in cargo. Now, that does not mean that there are no opportunities for people that want to do cabin crew. Like there are opportunities for cabin crew, flight dispatch, yes. You want to study international tourism management courses, hospitality, hotel and hospitality management courses. So you have all that. You have all that wherever you are fit in, wherever, whatever course you want to study, they have it there. I think when they send you, by the time you send your email to SACSTEAM20@gmail.com, and we send your names and details to the school, I think they will get back to you with the admission process. I think there are prospectus, yes, they're going to get back to you with all of that so you know how to go about it. Now, it's going to be on ground, it's not online, and like I said before, is 100% tuition scholarship for 20 people. So start rolling in your emails and tell us why you want to study the course you have chosen. Tell us the course you want to study, your full name, and I think that's that for that. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Once again, I really appreciate everyone for coming. I would give the opportunity to Obina right now to, okay, I said something the other time. Before Obina comes in, I'll give the opportunity to all our speakers for the 3 days who have been here. Please, if you have any comments or anything you want to drop for our participants, please, you can go ahead to do that. While you are rolling that, I also want to welcome Mr. Taiwo. Mr. Taiwo is from CCTV. You are welcome to this platform, Mr. Taiwo Adeshina. You are welcome. So please let our speakers begin to give us their final words before we shut down. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear
Sophia,
me?
Yes, Sophia, we can hear you.
Okay,
yes, we
please.
can hear you.
Okay, so please let our speakers. Okay, let's do it this way. Mr. Ruben, would you like to give us your final words?
Sure. Thank you very much. I would like to thank the organizers for putting this on. Again, thank you so much. This is so important. It's such a great topic, and honestly, 25 years I've been in this business, and this is one of the most exciting meetings I've ever been a part of. So thank you so much. I want to give kudos to my brother Glenn. For those of you who don't know, Glenn and I had to get up like 3:30 a.m. in order to be on this meeting. So for those of you who wanted to know why I was not on the meeting the previous days, is that I'm not sure I could do this more than 1 day a week. But
Wow, that was
Well
lovely.
done. Well
uh,
done.
qu-
Thank you very much.
quite honestly,
Wow.
I regret now that I've been a part of this, that I was not a part of the other ones. And I would encourage the organizers perhaps to conduct more of these meetings, but perhaps in the afternoon. Certainly, it is a little bit debilitating for us. I have 8 hours of work to do still, so it's just made for a very long day. But I can tell you what, it was absolutely worth it. Um, Certainly, I don't see Mr. Tarzan here, but uh, honestly, I know of his businesses, and to be on the same platform as him and also with Glenn, it's an honor for me. And I really am grateful to be here. For the students, and I think for our audience who we're actually talking to, even whether you're a student, excuse me, or not, I just want to say this in closing, that COVID-19 is not going to kill tourism. Uh, Certainly, we're going to get over this as we got over the Spanish flu 100 years ago. Um, I have taken the position this past year that this is not a bad thing to happen to we as individuals or to our industry. Notwithstanding those who may have lost family, certainly that is a tragedy. But it's not often in life that you get to take a knee and to reflect on where you've been, where you are, and perhaps where you want to go. And whether we like it or not, 2020 is our take a knee year. And so I would encourage all of you to use this time properly that you have for yourself. Focus on what you really want to do and who you want to be in your life. It's very important to visualize yourself. And to those of you that want to have a career in aviation or in tourism, um, you have the right to imagine yourself at the top of your game. What will your life be like? Um, what type of pilot will you be? What type of manager will you be? The onus is actually on you right now to start to figure this out, because you can't be a good leader if you don't know what it means to be a leader. And as Miss B was saying earlier, it's not about being an OGA. It's about earning the OGA position. And it's about earning the respect of your staff. It's about earning the respect of your client. And I'm very fortunate. A few of you that are on this panel today have been my clients. And I hope that you feel that I am speaking with one tongue, and that I put my money where my mouth is. And I would just encourage all of you to believe in yourself, to find a business that you can make better, and to understand that no matter what hardship or obstacle may be in your path, there's always a way around it. There will always be a tomorrow. And it's much better to make other people's day than to fight for your own happiness. So the fact is that we're in the service business. Glenn brings people from point A to point B safely. And we make sure that when you go to sleep or you wake up or you are enjoying yourself in our resort, that you feel at home and that you're going to want to come back. And that's it.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Ruben. Thank you for that warm and interesting speech. I'd like to give the floor to Glenn Logan. Just give us your closing remark.
Um, I'm going to sort of continue on the same line with Ruben. And just one point I'd like to make so that everyone knows. With our airline, when we do land and we arrive at the destination, it is important for the captain to come out the cockpit and stand at the door and thanking everyone for flying with us, because they could have flown with American Airlines, they could have flown with JetBlue, they could have flown with Spirit Airlines. So you have to show gratitude and thanks, and also to remind uh, all of our people working in the industry, the way you get paid is how people use your service. And if you don't give it back and show gratitude and thanks, you're not going to get it. You got to have passion again, and heart, and making sure that whatever you do, you put your best foot forward. Always come with an open mind. And I always like to say, color outside of the box, because not everything sometimes remains the same. You got to travel is something which is always um, moving, changing. It's an evolution. So in that, you have to find different ways to really harness the continuation of good service. And always remember, when you're paying for it, it is your hard money that is coming out your pocket to pay for the service, and you demand good service. So it is incumbent on us to deliver it, making sure we're bringing it home, making sure that when you spend that money, you said, well spent. So you make sure that you have that passion inside of you to give it back. Key thing in tourism, always remember to give back to the community. It is not about always taking, it is giving back to the community one way or another, helping someone to learn, bring them into the industry, okay? And if it means sacrificing, it means sacrificing, because that person, you're going to open their minds and giving them the opportunity to climb the ladder. Don't leave anyone behind. Let us all move forward together. That is my philosophy. And it's been a pleasure. I'm so sorry that I could not attend on Monday, but then again, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much, everyone. It has been my pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn. In fact, we have the best of you today. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. So we will give the floor to Mr. Gabe. Mr. Gabe, would you just give us your final?
Hello, family. Hello, Ruben.
Yeah, hello, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry I've been between meetings.
Oh, okay, no problem. Welcome.
It's so good to be home again. Mr. Glenn, my sincere sympathies for the loss of your colleague, your partner. May the good Lord receive his soul through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Mr. Ruben, you guys have killed it today for us. So much nostalgia here. First, I thank Ms. B for running these men down so well. Women are strong. Mr. Glenn, so much nostalgia because I did my tourism training in Jamaica in TPDCO 2005, 2006. So much, and I can't wait to reconnect with you. Then, Mr. Ruben, you are one of the best hosts in the whole world. Mr. Ruben can do anything. Mr. Ruben can be a boss, he can be a woman, he can be a man, he can be a KBSC. Mr. Ruben hosted 60 of us, no complaints. He took the plates, he took the sheets, he took the hot water, he took the cold water, everything. I kept asking the Oni of Ife, what part of Ijebu is this man from? Ijebu Ode? I thought he was from Nigeria. Well, I took one thing the youth must learn now: learning, and learning slowly. You said so. We must learn to learn slowly. This sector is not for players, yet it is for those who have passion. And this was what we left yesterday with Ivana and Beryl. We need people who have passion, who are ready to be teachers, who are ready to be learners, who are ready to be ambassadors, who are ready to be diplomats. And when you shared your experience with the Oni of Ife, you said, truly, we should treat all tourists as kings. The Oni of Ife himself is a leveler. He's down to earth in spite of his kingship, in spite of his royalty. He's a great mind. He's a great man. And I thank God that we have him in this sector. I am enthused on your diasporan desire. I am running a project also, meeting with the Malone Jackson family, Jackson 5 family, about bringing our brothers in the diaspora who are willing to reconnect with their past. And I can score 99.9% that our African Americans in the diaspora want to come back home. They want to reconnect with home. On the 16th of August 2020, I was privileged to give a goodwill message to the Africa Day celebration in Belize, and we've opened our doors. That Calabar, Cross River State, where I'm seated, the home of Tinapa, the home of Carnival Calabar, is responsible for 30.1% of slaves that left to the New World. Of the 2.4 million slaves that left to the New World, 800,000 plus of that number left to the shores of Calabar. We are working with the United Nations Slave Memorial, and I'm going to hook up with your event, your desire to bring this back to the Gambia, to see how we can bring this to the forefront. I have received a delegation from Haiti, from the African Diaspora Heritage Trail Foundation, to come and establish this here, and I'm working with Belize government presently on this. I believe this will throw up opportunities for our young boys and girls, because tourism, like we said, is a low-hanging fruit that anybody who has opportunity to meet and greet, meet and greet. We must learn, and we must learn. Again, I want to resound what I said yesterday, that aviation is the melting point for hospitality and tourism. You can be in Gambia for breakfast and end up in Nigeria for lunch and continue to Cameroon for dinner through aviation. And that is the experience. I am pleased that the young people were able to identify these strong men to be on this panel and identify with every sentiment that have been shared here. It is a learning curve. I've learned a lot today. And I say, welcome home to Calabar. I saw Calabar High School in Kingston, Jamaica, 2005, founded in 1912. Yes, in 1912. And the principal and the students of that school were here in 2012 as part of their centenary celebration. I received them with the governor, the then governor. So this is a melting point for all of us. And I thank you for this opportunity, and the future is here for the youth to take. Coronavirus has brought us together, and that is an advantage. Coronavirus has brought us together, and we must beat coronavirus. COVID-19 is the end of it. Thank you very much. God bless you. Lord.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gabe. Thank you for that one. I really appreciate you. You have been you've been such a blessing since we started this program. Thank you very much. We'll be bringing in Barry next. Barry, just say give a closing remark. After you, we'll go to Chidozie. Please, let's hurry up. Barry, please, would you give us your own closing remark? Hello, is she there? Barry? Okay. Chidozie, are you here now? Hello? Okay. in absence of those of Berry and Chidozie, Miss B, kindly give your closing remarks.
Okay, I think I will just say something briefly. Still excited and listening to everything that Ruben and Mr. Glenn have said. And I will end, like I always say, on my quotey note, really, that with what we have heard so far, I will say all the young people listening, don't watch the clock, do what it does. Let's keep moving, even in this COVID time, and not just moving in this COVID time, but to find ourselves, as Mr. Ruben said, find your niche, do it with purpose and passion, definitely, and be impactful. But most of all, I always talk about us being hospitality service stars. So please remain service stars wherever you find yourself. Thank you.
I am at the channel you. You are in the Chatu Hotel, the Chatu.
Okay, Captain. Thank you, Miss B, for that. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Captain, unmute Berry and Chidozie. They can't speak because their mics are unmuted. Kindly unmute them. Okay. Okay, I think Berry, you can speak now.
Okay.
Hello.
Well, it's been a great opportunity. I want to thank the vision bearer and every other person in the organizing team. And I also want to thank the participants for showing up. Like we've all been saying, let's learn, not just in the classroom, wherever you find yourself, try as much to learn and make sure you create good networks, good connections. Everyone is so busy right now. So when you're trying to connect with someone, please make sure you're ready for work and you have good ideas to bring on board. Just connect. Everyone here has presented themselves to be open and ready to help. But just make sure that when you're trying to connect, be ready for work, not just for chit chat. Okay, we will have time for chit chat often, but try to be serious, try to be ready to work and connect as much as you can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Berry, for that. Thank you very much. Let's have Mr. Chide. Hello, Mr. Chidozie, are you there? Hello. Okay. In that case, let's go to Captain. Captain, a very great host. Let's have him give us the final remarks. Captain Emmanuel Lost Great.
Yes, thank you, Sophia. Apologies,
Yes,
I had to attend to a VIP who just left my office. So sorry to every participant and panelist. It's been a wonderful 3 days, and for me, um, I was telling Miss B maybe on that was on Tuesday when we were having a pet chat that this is what I love to do. And I said it again yesterday that I'm so happy that Sophia is actually, extending the vision and something that was very, very dear to my heart that I started in 2018, which was the Aviation, Tourism, and Hospitality Forum. Because when I decided to join tourism and hospitality industry, I joined one of the reasons that I joined was because I discovered that there is a disconnect between these three very important sectors, aviation, tourism, and hospitality. And I'm so glad today when Mr. Logan said aviation itself is hospitality because I expect to help this passenger arrive at his destination and his baggage must also arrive with him. So in 2018, when I started Aviation, Tourism, and Hospitality Forum, it was not too popular. Why do you want to synchronize these three industries together? But now today, 2 years back, Sophia and Obina have teamed up together and we are now doing aviation, tourism, hospitality focused on youth and the opportunities that abound for them. This is just so wonderful for me. The experience for the last 3 days has been awesome, hearing from young people and taking their questions, moderating this fantastic panel of experts. It's been wonderful. And I think that, like Mr. Ruben has requested, Sophia, we need to do this more often. Obina, this is a team. We are a tag team now, and we're going to be doing an aviation tourism and hospitality forum 2021. And when we're going to do that 2 days event, we're going to leave a section strictly for youth in aviation tourism and hospitality. So kudos to all of you. You've done fantastic jobs keeping us together for 3 days, even though internet penetration has been a problem, but you guys are fantastic. The panel has been a fantastic panel. Every one of the panel members have been wonderful, and it's so wonderful being on the same platform, impacting young people's lives with you guys. So thank you very much. You can call me any day, anytime. You know I'm going to be there. I'm going to be available, and then I'm ready anytime, any day to host you again anytime soon. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful rest of the day, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Captain, for that one. Please, I can see Mr. Dozier. He has been shouting. He has been raising up his hand on that on our chat room. Please unmute Mr. Dozier. Kindly unmute him so that he can give his own closing remarks. Hello.
Hello, very good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Mr. Dozier, you're muted, please.
Hello, very good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm so happy to have been a part of this conference. Personally, it was a pleasure and a complete privilege to have been a part of this conference. I love to appreciate the organizers, Sophia, Obina.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
It's been a wonderful 3 days in a quick row. Mr. Glenn, we had what happened on Monday when you couldn't join us on Monday. Please accept our deepest condolences. You couldn't be here, you couldn't join us on Monday, but today was living better than Mondays. And Ruben Abib, I think I've met you once. I think something last year during our meeting at Ileife. I think top meeting at Ileife. Like Gab said, you were such a wonderful host. We bullied you, we did everything we wanted you to do for us. It was a wonderful time spending lovely time with you at your resort, which is, by the way, a very beautiful resort. Please invite us again. Okay, you are such a wonderful talker. I love listening to you. You have a good sense of humor too. You could go on and on and on without stopping. I love that. Thanks for the wonderful things you said. I don't know if Mr. Greg Honor is listening to me. Please, I need some of those showed us yesterday. I'm a Malabite, so remember that. Okay, I love to appreciate my co-moderator on this platform, Ms. B, Very, moderator, Emmanuel, and all of you. You've been so wonderful. You made me proud. Please keep up this good work. I would like to talk to you. I know you must have learned one or two things. Even if you didn't pick everything they said on this conference, please take at least one thing at home, that you can always pursue your dream. Don't let anything or anyone come in between you and your dreams. Your dreams are valid, wherever you come from, whoever you are, no matter how much money you have, your dreams are valid. Never allow anything to come in between you and your dreams. Take this home. Take this home and take this home. I would love to thank you again, Obina and Sophia, for giving us an opportunity to serve on this platform. Please, let's do this again sometime next year, perhaps offline. Let's make some money to promote aviation and the tourism and the hospitality on the African continent. One love. I love you all. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chidozie, for that one. Thank you very much. Okay, before we shut down, I think Obina would be shutting down this program. But before we shut down, I will quickly go through what we just discussed before now. Please, I want our youth to take this scholarship opportunity very seriously. when I actually tried to apply to study aerospace engineering, we didn't have these opportunities. I believe if we had these opportunities, I would have gone in for it, but we didn't have these opportunities. And now at least I've earned some certifications when it comes to aviation, tourism, and hospitality. So please and please, let's take advantage of these scholarship programs. We have one on ground and the other offline. So, online. We have offline and online. So whichever you are okay with, if you want to do a practical section on ground or rather offline, there is a scholarship waiting for you. If you want to go online because of your busy schedule, there's also a scholarship waiting for you. Please, let's take advantage of this. I can see Miss B is already saying she's there. Miss B, you are welcome to the club. So, okay, I think that is all for the day. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending this program, and we hope to see you 2021. God bless you all. God keep all of us in good shape, and God bless Nigeria. So over to Obina.
Wow, thank you so much, Sophie. Wow, I'm going to start with Mr. Glenn. Once again, sir, I want you to accept my deepest condolences. Please do accept our heartfelt condolences on your departed partner.
Thank you.
Then to Mr. Ruben, I would say you have swept me off Mr. Gabe was trying to be a man, you can be everything. Such a wonderful personality. Then to ever smiling Miss B. Wow, I love your face. It's always flashy,
Thank you.
smiling.
Thank you.
You always told us to always wear that hospitality.
Thank you.
And you're always on it. Thank you so much for reception of this conference. You've been so wonderful. You've been so amazing. You've inspired us a lot, and till this day, you've always inspired us. To Mr. Dozier, wow, you are always there. I appreciate you. You are a brother, and I believe we have greater things we can achieve together. To Mr. Usman, Mr. Tazan, all the panelists that are here and those that have already left. To Captain Ima, our greatest, in fact, I should give you the award. Yeah, let's celebrate you worldwide as the greatest host ever. Thank you so much, Captain Ima. You're such a wonderful.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Personality. I really appreciate you. Yeah, all the participants you have, and I really appreciate you. Please, let's not forget the lessons we've learned from day one. Day one talked more about passion, following your passion. Don't go in because of the mentality or the idea that you're going to make money. No, build the passion first. The money will definitely roll in. That's just a thing. The passion, it's from passion to portfolio. When you build the passion, then you have the portfolio to carry on. So to my greatest partner, Sophie, wow, she's so a wonderful person. We've been like experiencing difficulties and challenges throughout the planning process. We are giving all this to say thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the personalities, the panelists, the moderators, the speakers, the participants. I really appreciate. On behalf of Student Aviation Club, I want to say thank you and thank you and thank you again. I look forward to seeing you all hopefully next year. And I'm going to be expecting a lot of what's it called? Things, activities, partnership we can run together to, enhance our various careers, industries, and build a better industry for the younger generation to come. Thank you so much. I remain myself, Mr. Obina Onhajuma, the President, Student Aviation Club. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Obina, sorry, before you go, I think one thing we have missed is not seeing your face at all, so that when we see you on the road, we will know who the great Mr.
Yeah,
Obina is.
I was really having a serious network glitch. Yesterday I tried it. It didn't work. Today I tried it again. I've really even not been feeling so strong on that since this, and I had to even leave today for my drugs and all that. I had to take some injections and it was bad. So please do bear with me on that. I didn't want to like make it public to all of us here. Please, I believe with time I will have to see the faces. So apologies on that, please. Thank you so much.
No problems. Stay strong.
Thank you so much.
Just one recommendation I would like to pass on. I think that this is a platform which should really grow, and we should get some major sponsors in the sense of hotels, car rental companies, airlines, and make this a very good summit. Just like how you have Davos in Switzerland, we should make this the tourism summit in Africa, okay, and bring in a wealth of knowledge in tourism and aviation to the African continent. So I want to call this the main summit of tourism for the Africa country.
Mr. Glenn, I guess for the African young people, to be precise.
Yeah,
very much so. For the young people of tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Glenn, for that. Thank you.
Going to bring that, Mr. Glenn. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sophie, please. Let's go on with the normal
Captain. Captain. I think Sophie and Obina are having a bit of a difficulty with the network.
Yeah. So. Yes, Sophie has already pointed out your official names, so that, so please do well to send it so much. Captain, are you there, please?
I'm here. Okay.
Captain, are you there?
Yeah.
Are you sure he hasn't gone with his VIP?
Randy, Kilo call.
He's there.
Obina, can you come in? Okay.
I think with this, we have come to the end of SACSTEAM2020. To God be all the glory. We give God all the glory. Thank you, everybody. I wish us a Merry Christmas, because Christmas is around the corner. Merry Christmas to everyone. And please do invite me to your houses. Now we can connect online. I can eat chicken by Zoom. So please do invite me.
Sophia, thank you for reminding us Christmas is around the corner.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
The door's open. So come on over.
Nice to see all of you.
Please invite me to Canada. I will come. Invite me to anywhere around the world. I will come.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Mr. Logan, you know we can have the next edition of Aviation, Tourism and Hospitality Forum in Canada. That would be lovely. And we can bring together all the Africans in diaspora.
Captain, you have to get flight scholarship from the airlines for us.
If it's possible.
for all the students to attend.
Sure.
Mr. Logan will work it out.
In Canada, exactly. That would be lovely.
My brothers and
on that with
sisters,
Sophia.
both my captains, Logan and Emmanuel. Nice to see you. You on my screen. You're side by side. I love that. I tell you what. One of the topics I would suggest to this group is the fact that there are no direct flights from North America to Africa, or few direct flights. And this is one of the lasting effects of colonialism and slavery, is that we must go back to our colonial so-called masters in order to get home. And you know, we know what happened with Air Afrique. We know what's happening with the African carriers. Glenn is trying right now to get to be in a position to have his own carrier. And so this is something that we need to talk about. I think it's an African solution. I don't think it's something that we need to look to Europe to solve for us. So I'd be very interested in this conversation going forward.
Yeah,
I will
Captain,
add, let me,
I think, Captain, you this thing was dealt with in one of your webinars, so I think you will have something to say about
we
it.
discussed about that during the webinars I ran throughout the lockdown. But let me hear what Glenn has to say about that.
One of the main, I'm guilty of it, and the industry is guilty of it, and mainly because we exclude Africa as a gateway, mainly for economic reasons. We don't think that there is what we call a tremendous load factor for direct flights. So I think that we have to start thinking differently and seeing exactly how we can do what's called ground marketing first and then getting the interest. I will give you a good example. For us to establish a route, before we start flying, we do a route analysis. That's one thing. Second thing that we do is then we start to see exactly what yield we can make from each seat to fly there. The seat burn per mile, looking how much fuel is going to cost us to burn. And then we then go into what's called tariff rates to see exactly what is the main cost it's going to cost us to get. Now, each route for 6 months, we have to put aside $500,000 for that particular route to develop it. And a lot of airlines, you know, when it comes on to our brothers and sisters there, they'd rather go to Europe than going to Africa. So it's a different mindset. And I think that starting next year, I have to change my mindset in making sure that I come home and bringing it home.
Fantastic.
Okay, to this, I will want to say something. Anyway, it's still cooking in the pot, but with what we have just been discussing, I would let the cat out. Recently, we have been discussing with some stakeholders all over the world, and we are looking at each African country hosting this event every year. So it's going to be an annual thing. I think by the end of this program, we will get connected to each speakers. We're already having sponsors already. They are ready to come to Nigeria to make, come to Africa to make things work. They want to see, we got lots of people from the aviation industry, from the tourism, and from the hospitality industries. So these people are ready to work with the Africans and to make things work. Part of what we are going to be solving is creating more opportunities when it comes to finances for our younger generations. Because I realize in the African country, we have determination, we have brains. But what stops us from achieving most of the time is finances. So all this will be dealt with as soon as the whole procedures continue. I believe by this, before the week runs out, something must have come up because lots of stakeholders have actually been calling, and that's why I've been like going off and on since Monday. So I thank you, our fathers, no, not our fathers now, our elderly youth for what you have said so far. Thank you. We are working towards that direction, and I believe that we are all going to work together on this because we can't do it on our own. we are learning, and with people like Glenn, Captain, Ruben, Usman, Miss B, Mr. Tarzan, Barry, I think we can actually push this boat. There's a lot of things we will want to do. There are lots of opportunity we want to lay down for our next generation. We didn't have such opportunities, but we believe that the generation that we are leaving behind will have lots of opportunities. And when they kneel down or sleep, they are going to be thanking us each day and each night for giving them these opportunities. Thank you very much.
And sister, you almost killed she almost killed me with that elderly youth bit. I don't know if I even want to be in that category. Elderly
I'm
youth.
very sure Ruben doesn't want to be elderly. He wants to be a youth.
Hey, look, 53-23, not a big difference. Come on now.
And yes, I'm not elderly. Not elderly.
Okay, so all these young people, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
As your host for this maiden edition of SACSTEAM 2020. I'd like to greet every one of you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to host you for these 3 days. It has been fantastic. And I think I'm also a sponsor of this event, being the host. And I'm so glad that we're doing this for young people. I love doing this. I can do this anytime, any day. So as a host should be, okay, I'll be here, and I'll allow every one of you to take your leave gracefully while I remain here to close the room. Thank you very much.
Just one more thing.
Go
if
ahead.
anyone wants to contact me and for any questions or any type of help, I am here. I'm open to just contact Sophia or Ruben. I'm open to helping anyone anytime.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Logan, for that. Definitely, you'll be getting to hear from us. So thank you, everyone. I think right now, we are not shutting down, like Sophia said. No, we are only going to be signing out, okay? So I'll leave you guys to take your leave gracefully.
Thank you.
Good day to everyone. Good day. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sophia, Captain Emmanuel, fantastic job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And good day to all the young people that have been silent, in the background, just listening to the young panelists.
I can see Mary, I can see Ephraim,
Ephraim, that's it. Everybody.
Sophia,
Mary.
I think we should give an award of 1 day, 2 day, 3. I can see Ephraim Ayokumi is still here. Oma Bliss is still here.
Sonia has been there for 3 days.
Arrived. She was the first person to arrive for today's webinar. Sonia Deborah, thank you so very much. And we're going to be getting across to you. Jojo Lina has also been here for 3 days. And she was asking me to put up a video. And then she's been fantastic. And then I think we need to give these guys an award of excellence. Taiwo additional, thank you. You've been consistent with your videos so far for the first day 1, day 2, day 3. We really appreciate you. Omar Bliss, thank you for those questions. Those very powerful, insightful, and direct, concise questions that has got our panel very engaging. And we really appreciate your contribution. Thank you so very much.
Yeah. So, Sophia, I would have loved us to even know some of those young people, what institutions they have come from, just to, get a bit of an idea, get to know them, because there's so much, really. There's so much.
I didn't get you said?
I think it would be nice to know from what institutions the ones that have stayed so far for the 3 days have come from. That would be nice to put on record.
Okay, maybe I'll unmute Ayokumi to tell the house.
Okay. We are creating a WhatsApp group for them. Yes, we are creating.
Okay.
Wow, lovely.
Fantastic.
Ayokumi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's
3 days straight.
Yeah.
Wow. Now we can put your face to the name.
Mary?
Yeah, exactly. Mary Sonia too is there.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. It's good to hear your voice. Thank you for showing us your beautiful face on the video. Since
Thank you,
Angelina,
Yes.
are you there? Oh, please. These are fantastic young people.
Yeah,
Wonderful people.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so I still remain here.
Hello.
Okay, Mr. Chidoze is saying something.
Okay, Mr. Chidoze. Oh, Mr. Doze is still in the house.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Right, about the scholarship, I think you should consider the consistent participants before the emails are being sent out. They've been so wonderful being consistent on this program. I think we should consider them for the scholarship if they're interested, instead of allowing them to send emails first.
Wow.
If they want scholarship, they should get scholarship before the rest of the people that send emails. That's my thinking. I don't know if you got that.
I think it's a
Yeah, I
very
guess
good
it's
one.
Sophia and Obina would, I guess, look at that, isn't it? But it
They
sounds
want
great.
They should get it before the other people that come and start digging gold.
I think I agree with you, because these young people have invested their time, their data, and also their attention. I think Sophia and Obina definitely should take that up, and let's see what they come up with. I think it's their call to make. But thank you very much, Mr. Dozie, for
What
that
is that?
wonderful.
I totally got lost. Like what did the Mr. Dozier, what did he say?
He's saying that you should consider,
students.
He says you should consider, you to please consider those of the students that have participated actively for the 3 days here. If they're interested, they should be the first ones, to attend to before any other emails that might be sent requesting for scholarships.
For their consistency, they should be rewarded.
Yes, we are going to be treating the participants first.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good one. That's a very good one. So Ephraim, Taiwo, Mary, Oma Blaze, Deborah, if you guys are interested in scholarship opportunities, definitely quickly send in your request, and you're going to be on our priority list. That's what it means. So that's our way of saying thank you for your consistency, for your dedication. I think you guys have already demonstrated passion for you to have been here for 3 days straight consistently. I was shocked. Deborah was here for stream. Myself and Sophia were still chit-chatting when Deborah came in. And Mary joined in, and Jojolina has been there, and Taiwo has been there, Ephraim has been there. You guys need to be rewarded. And thank you guys for
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Even though you don't want to show us your face, Omar, I appreciate you.
I'm actually in transit, so like it's so not okay here. But I promise when I settle in, I will.
All right. All right.
No problem.
Okay. So you guys,
Sophia,
we can sign out now.
Bye.
Stay here waiting for you guys to sign out.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, babe.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
Sophia.
Mary.
Thank you. We will catch up.
Let's